Jones, he's in there and back in front of the Eagles.
My goodness.
44 seconds left. Two wideouts each way. Van Treese now goes empty as the back sprints out. It's a quarterback draw. Van Treese to the 5, to the 1, dives, leans.
Touchdown.
And Georgia Southern has the lead with 36 seconds left.
Hey, was there a game on Saturday night, Damon?
I don't know.
Good Monday morning, everybody. It is September 12th. We played 2 weeks of the college football season. Some of you played week 0. And in Omaha, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone, welcome to silly season. We've played 2 weeks of the college football season. But something happened yesterday, of course, that I don't think anybody wanted to happen that way.
Good morning.
Good morning. As Scott Frost was dismissed. And now Nebraska moves on to play Oklahoma this weekend with interim head coach Mickey Joseph. I think before we dive into all the nuts and bolts and things, nobody wanted it in this way. Absolutely nobody. Well, however you feel about, Scott, you feel about Nebraska football, you feel about the way that's going, nobody wanted to end like this.
I always have to ask, are you talking to me?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
We're going to do a lot of talking.
All right. Just double checking.
Yes.
Where were we?
We are at a place where I looked at yesterday, of course on Saturday, of what happened during the course of that game, where Georgia Southern looked at Nebraska and said, our talent is equal, our coaching is equal, we have no fear, and they played like that, and they walk out with a $1.4 million check and a victory for Fun Belt, Sun Belt, having a big day on Saturday, and everything that went in afterwards, and then, of course, yesterday. And I sit here on Monday morning, as we start silly season around here, I think both sides are better off for what happened yesterday.
I mean, certainly I think Coach Frost is. Now we'll have to see what happens with Nebraska going forward. In the short term, I think the easy answer is, yeah, they're going to be better. And in the long term, I'm sure they will too. Just definitively today, I just have to see how that plays out. It was very subdued yesterday. Some people referred to it as kind of a morgue. And so there's always the realization that, what you wanted and what you strive for just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for a good 55, 65, 70%, it was inevitably going to happen. They just didn't know when, right? I mean, I think that this won't be one of those deals where we'll go back and say, well, I told you so, or remember this deal, because I know the position we're in. I know the position I'm in, right? Where you know a lot of things, you don't say much. But this won't be one of those times where you go back and you start shoveling dirt, because I'm not going to do that. I think a lot of this has to do. It's not rocket science, right? When you're when attention to detail gets away from you and you don't do the little things, it's easy to see how it manifests itself on Saturdays, right? Attention to detail gets away from you and you don't do the little
Accountability
things.
is a key word in this conversation.
Well, that's a big one.
And that was brought that was
a big
hammered
one.
a lot yesterday.
Well, and you know what else was interesting? And I'm sure we have. Do we have that presser cut up? Okay, so there's a lot in there in terms of what Trev said, but he used a word that I used to describe this job like 3 years ago.
The Nebraska job.
The Nebraska job. It takes a grinder, because it's a grinder kind of job.
It takes a lot out of you.
But here's the thing though. You wouldn't think that off the top with all that Nebraska offers.
Mm-hmm.
You have to come in And I've said this before, and it's going to be super relevant now. You have to come in with the mindset of it being it. It is total work. The tricky part of negotiating it is you don't feel that way because people are so good to you. Athletic department is going to be good to you. You've got a huge budget. You don't get told no a ton. You got a super loyal fan base. You have really good facilities that are getting ready to be even better. The state adores you. You have to have a certain mindset going in because what the environment can change you. And it's a big reason why it's another example, I should say, of why I always say you cannot allow the environment to dictate people. People have to dictate the environment. And you just hope that you've been raised or groomed or you're bred in such a way that it fits, because the environment will play tricks on you. And you have to either be really, really grounded to begin with or have a heck of a support structure that you trust, that has everyone's best interest at heart, that can keep you focused. Because I'm telling you, you ask anybody, it's easy to get away from you.
Yeah.
You start looking at all that you have, and it's not just a Frost thing. Shoot, ask Callahan. Ask Mike. Mike Riley couldn't believe it.
Ask Bo.
Bo could not. He referred to us as spoiled, and he had to fight it. Now, it was more in his nature because of his upbringing, so I think he handled it the best. But it still got to him too, right? Like that's the most difficult. I thought a lot about this because I know what I say over the last 8, however many years, 10, 15, and I pit it against where I see failure. And for me, that's the number one reason. The surroundings and the way that you're treated and what comes with this job is a stark contrast to what the job actually entails. I mean, it's even in our slogan, the good life. Amen. Easy breezy. We'll take care of you. We support one another. But you got to hold up your end of it too. And it'll chew you up because you get a false sense of security.
Yep.
You absolutely get a false sense of security. And so unfortunately, I think for this, it took kind of the poster child, the prodigal son, for that lesson to be learned. And maybe you get the perfect storm in terms of an athletic director that is very process oriented.
Yep.
And it's a process oriented job. It just is. And so you have an opportunity, I think, to kind of get that right. But the immediacy of it starts with what's best for the student athletes. And he had to give them some hope. And I listen, 951-1620. I'm sure Twitter will be busy. I was extremely quiet over the weekend for a multitude of reasons, but sometimes you just need to process. It doesn't always have to be the immediacy of a response and to push some content out or something like that. Like sometimes you just need to sit back and digest, because it's dangerous for me because I know what I know what I see, and then I saw what happened. Right. So I'm trying to reconcile all of that without you're not trying to betray confidence. You're not trying to do any of that except tell a story on how we got here. And so it's tricky to navigate.
16-31 is not why we got here.
No.
See,
that's the byproduct of what the issues were.
I mean, granted, Trev could just rattle that off and everybody could rattle that off. 16-31 is not why we had yesterday. But there's yesterday happened, not because of Saturday night, but the more you dive into this and the more you talk to people that actually play the football game out in Lincoln, the October 1 was looming. I mean, who didn't know what October 1 meant? And when you have something like Saturday night, you've got to make a decision. I'm not going to let this season just fall apart. This is not going to be the season that we have thought we might have, but I'm not going to let these guys we're going to tank the season and we're not going to go to a bowl game. I'm going to fix it now and be damned. So what about the money? This is about the players. This is about the program. And wins and losses didn't get us to yesterday. Accountability got us to yesterday.
Yeah.
And missteps along the way.
Yeah. And
so you learn from them. But I think Trev did a couple. Trev is good in those situations. You can see why he was on TV. Trev is really good when problems and times are desperate. I think that's where he's really good. I think that's something he likes turmoil because he likes figuring out solutions. And this is the biggest solution that he will ever encounter in his administrative career. But he did something yesterday that I think is really, really important. He gave Scott the credit and the respect, but then it was important.
More the respect than credit.
And then
that's a very fine line for him to walk.
I think it was important for him to say, and because people have mixed emotions, but again, this is my opinion. Both sides are better for what happened yesterday. We're moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No more about Scott Frost. This is about the University of Nebraska. This is about the guys on 22. This is about moving the football program forward. We're not looking in the rearview mirror. We're looking out the front window, and we're going to move forward. And thanks, but we had to make a decision. And the program wakes up this morning. It's still Nebraska football, people that are involved, and we move forward. Thanks for your service, but we got to move on.
Yeah, I thought, there's a multitude of reasons he and I get along, but I think a lot of it is just a similar approach, right? Yesterday wasn't about burying a guy. And I'm just like that. I mean, you listen to this show and I'm not a pound of flesh guy. I like accountability and I don't want to let guys off the hook, but I mean, people know. And there's no sense in rehashing some of what we heard, what we think we know. I like the fact we're moving forward because it doesn't do anybody any good to just grab a dirt and shovel. It was a deal for somebody that's overseeing a program that's, was supposed to be pretty important to him. He got away from it. And Nebraska has to recalibrate because I felt like, selfishly, I think he put him in a tough spot. Because when last year rolled around and they had their meeting about what to do with this year and adjusting the numbers, and Trev knew when he said, hey, there's no empirical data that says this is going to work. I'm throwing him a lifeline because he's one of ours. And you can look back at that and say, why didn't he do it then? But he did it for the right reasons. He did. I think he should get, I actually think he should get some credit for that because it wasn't necessarily the majority consensus. It was the consensus that they had to arrive at to best do sports business for the next calendar year. Can we say that?
Yeah.
It wasn't the majority consensus, but it was the consensus that they arrived at to best do business for the next calendar year. Safe?
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are two separate deals because I think at the end of the day, Trev wanted to know that he did the best he could as an athletic director to get it to work before he called it quits.
Mm-hmm.
And he reconciled the fiduciary outcomes of it, made the decision, tried to whittle it down, got the number to where he thought it was going to be manageable. But they just didn't arbitrarily pick October 1. It's not like he said, what would be a good date 6 months ago to peg into the season for me to be able to get control of this season.
Mm-hmm.
he could feel and see some of this coming. He had to give himself a target in which to work. Now, did he think morale would get this bad this fast? No,
Mm-mm.
no. And I think yesterday was about two things. I, I think yesterday was about a meeting of two folks going a little different than I think its intent was designed.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first one in the morning. And I think the other one is, how does he give the student athletes the most hope? That the second one probably bigger than the first one, but the first one is, if folks are almost daring you, you have to send the message. And it may cost you 7.5 million reasons why you have to send the message, but it is what it is.
He will. This is the thing I've learned knowing Trev for a while. He won't cave into his belief system. He won't let other people influence. What he believes is right for the institution and the student athlete, he will follow through on that. There's another part that you just alluded to that I think is important moving forward on how all of this is going to play out. Strategic. Trev is very strategic, very well thought. He doesn't waste a lot of words. He delivers his message pretty well. And I think that's how strategic and well thought will be how they move forward and how he has moved forward since he was hired last July. And you know, there'll be stories written and later down the road about how a guy could mess up one of the greatest opportunities he'll ever have in his life. It is what it is. It happened. But now Nebraska has to move forward. And I'm glad that he again reiterated that we're moving forward. This is now it's on to, we're going to finish the year. Mickey Joseph is here. By the way, you know what the reaction to Mickey is in that locker room. Okay, you know what the reaction is to Mickey on that staff. We move forward to finish the year with Mickey Joseph, and Nebraska football moves forward. Hey, it is what it is. When Nebraska kicks off next year, they're going to have their sixth head coach in 25 years.
Yeah, it's, the weekend, it was so emotional. And sometimes I hate my personality, right? Because at the core of who I am, I want the best for you. And I'm probably closer to a guy that maybe spit is not the right analogy, but it's not that you can spit in my face and I'm still going to root for me, because that's not really how it's going to be. But you cannot be about what I want you to be about, and I can still I can still cheer for you, because I want people to succeed. There are lots of people, that would call themselves friends or associates that I know aren't for me, but I still cheer for, because I want them to do them and be successful. Even though it's like, gosh, you sometimes have to reconcile. And I know that these are guys that are, plotting and scheming or yucking it up behind my back or whatever. And it doesn't really bother me to the point where it deters me from wanting the best for them. It's kind of how I feel about Coach. Right? Because I know people will say that the $64,000 question is, how could it have gotten here? How did he mess up something so good? So there's a part of me that hurts. I don't feel bad, so let's not get it twisted. I don't feel bad for the 40 million. I don't feel bad for the 15 mil, but I do hurt a little bit, because we all have these things that we all have these triggers, or there's these stressors, or just some of it is our innate personality, that when we're put in certain situations, those stressors are heightened. And I just simply think a lot of the tools that were in the toolbox weren't built for what comes with this job. He was fighting himself the whole time. The whole time. And I know that that's a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just, there's conversations back and forth where you just reach out and say, hey, you know what, I'm hoping, and then fill in the blank. Or if you ever need, then fill in the blank. But then there's the duality of, how could you make that decision? Why would you let that happen? So then I'm mad again, right? But you go back and forth, and I think that's what it was like being on the job, because I don't think he was ever really ill-willed. I just think he was ill-equipped. I don't think he was ill-willed. I just think he was just ill-equipped. And sometimes is that me or thanks? That happens. And so the whole top-down thing with how to manage the players, the personalities, the program discipline, the day-to-day regimen, the modeled leadership, those are fixable.
Mhm.
I go back to a conversation the light-skinned guy and I had 2 years ago. And he kept asking me, because I kept saying, I said, I'm telling you, this is within Nebraska's control. This is within Nebraska's control. Because at some point I felt like the man in the mirror was going to be like, okay, listen, I got to do some things differently. I got to do this, and this. This has not happened here. I need some folks to lean on here. I got to kind of get out of my own way. And he would inevitably would ask me, hey, okay, is it fixable if the people that are in charge are still the people in charge and they don't want to get it fixed? And I said, well, just because it always has been doesn't mean it always will be.
Mhm.
Well,
It
because it was,
It still was.
it still was.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, I own that part of it, because I always try to give folks the benefit of the doubt that from a self-awareness standpoint, or just having people around you that are trying to model what they want you to do, I always assume that that's going to be well received.
Yep.
And it wasn't. So, where I had hope was in the fact that I felt like what ailed Nebraska was controllable. And that's all you really ever want.
Mhm.
I mean, to be,
Yeah.
if it, like you get to the core, like, and back to my personality, you always want to be in control of something if it's not going right. You don't want to leave it to anybody else, because that's a bad place to be in. You're at the mercy of someone else. The power in you being in control of what ails you is you're in control. Now, you may have to go there with yourself, but at least it's not up to somebody else.
No.
And so I think the number one reason why I don't feel bad or sorry is because he had every opportunity within his control. This wasn't about talent. It's not about recruiting. It's not about any of
It's
that.
about doing your job.
It's just about day to day. And my advice to Trev, well, what I would hope is in the going forward, keep it simple. He underlined, and it's not by coincidence. And I don't think he was pitting one against the other. I take him at his word when he said, hey, this isn't an indictment of blank. I want to be clear about that. I want you to know these are the things that I'm looking for. And he rattled off about 6 things,
Mm-hmm.
right? The integrity, the leadership, the grinder, the hate to lose more than liking to win. All those things sound familiar because you sit next to somebody that says those exact same things. That all comes from the same place. It all comes from the same
There was
place.
a lot. There were a couple of phrases that he used yesterday that both of your head coaches used. Both your head coach for both of you has used as mottos.
There's no question.
Those were like a bing bing. My head, I'm going bing 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 bing. I know where I've heard that before.
And don't underestimate this, because I think rightfully so. So I'm not chastising. There are some folks that were very optimistic that this could turn around under Trev's tutelage. Trev would be the guy to help instill, because got a lot of pieces that he's trying to
Mhm.
put in place. I actually think the way that this played out, although it was painful to watch, I think was this weird way to get everybody on the same page that this was what was best for the program. Because if you
Mhm.
make this decision 6 months earlier, there was the what if. Well, the what if,
Yep.
we swapped out some staff and we did this and we did that. And there's still this reservation because of the affinity for what he represented as a head coach and where he'd come from in terms of being one of our own. In this weird, kind of sick way, it brought clarity regardless of what side of the fence you were on.
I agree.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, and
'Cause
we
they
talked about it. Yeah, I agree.
There was just so many. There were some
Yeah.
people that were just like, give it we got to play this out. We got to see where this goes. Let's put this in place. And I actually think watching this unfold the last 3 months leaves zero doubt. So we all can move forward in the same direction if you're affiliated with the program.
That's why
I want to say this again. I think we can all move forward in the same direction if you're affiliated with the program. There is no more what if, well, if you
Mhm.
only and want, there is none of that. So things that people were telling you from 2 years ago that folks didn't want to believe, or from 3 years ago that people didn't want to believe, or from 4 months ago that people didn't want to believe. I think we can all be at the same place.
I said a long time ago, whatever happens, it'll be an easy decision. Hard because you have to fire somebody.
You have to do it.
But the decision was easy. The Trev let the decision. Trev really didn't have to make the decision on his own.
And
He just let it play out.
And I think in his circle, I think he probably said as much.
And that's why I said, Damon, looking at Scott on Saturday night, the energy, the enthusiasm, the guy is zapped. The program is wandering. And he wakes up and is not going to work this morning. Nebraska football wakes up and they're going to work. And that's why I continue to say it's better for both sides. It's better for both sides now. I mean, look at the guy across the sidelines on Saturday night. Clay Helton in week 2 last year got fired at USC. He's now at Georgia Southern. And he looks like he has, gotten back about 15 years. He's happy. He's smiling. He's energetic. Clay Helton, I think that's the maddest I've ever seen Clay Helton on the sidelines, like he was with a call on Saturday night. It's both sides are better off this morning.
Isn't it weird how he closed his presser yesterday with how he opened in his intro? You want the money quote? He said it twice, X amount of months apart. You want it? The program is bigger than any one person. He said it when he took the job. He said it yesterday. Don't undersell that.
Part of that strategic. All right, 6:38. We're going to talk about now the significance of Mickey Joseph being elevated to the interim head coach and what this does for this team moving forward. Because Saturday, Oklahoma's here. Now, the line has jumped to 13.5. It'll be the first time that OU's been here since 2009. If you were dreading Saturday morning in Lincoln, you might have a little bit more energy to think, wow, now I'm very curious on what this is going to look like. And remember, another factor is it's OU week, and there's going to be national attention on this game. So a distraction has been eliminated, at least one distraction has been eliminated leading into this week where you wouldn't have been able to ignore if Scott was still the head coach.
Yeah.
But now they move forward, and I'm finding people that their enthusiasm has changed for Saturday. Now they are very, very curious. Instead of going, oh, geez. Now it's like, okay. And I think you will see a response from the fan base on Saturday. We'll get into that. But there is the significance of the elevation of Mickey when very few interim head coaches, when an athletic director holds a press conference like yesterday, say, hey, man, he can make changes.
Mm-hmm.
It shows you there's a lot of trust. And we are finding from players that talked yesterday, that T word, which you and I have been talking about for 10 years, that was lacking. My God, I heard when, was it Tommy Hill that said there's 2 circles? I was like, all right, 40 past the hour. We'll take your calls. I know people want to talk.
The 2 circles don't have anything to do with the other T word that he needs to be applying. There's actually 2. There's toughness and there's tackling. Tommy.
Yeah, we'll get to that because there also of everything that went on yesterday. There are some glaring things that happened Saturday night that aren't just going to be fixed because one guy's gone and the other guy got elevated. There's some guys that are still there, but I do believe that there will be some players that you're going to be scared because the accountability, and if you're just there to get gear and stand on the sidelines, there's going to be somebody that is well aware of that. That's why the word changes. I mean, you don't hear interim coaches saying, yeah, he can make changes that he wants to. And I'm right there behind him. All right.
Remember, they have a very unique relationship too.
They do. And I think that's a big reason why instead of walking into being an interim, which is difficult to balance, Mickey has been running into this. All right. 951-1620. The numbers to hop into the conversation on the Los Hills Harley-Davidson hotline. You can always email us into the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary or Damon at 1620thezone.com, or the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620 at Damon Benning. Coming up a little bit later, Scott Shanley will join us. How'd you enjoy your NFL day yesterday? If you're a Cowboy fan, you did not. Your season might already be over. But the NFL did happen yesterday around here. We will get into that because Scott Shanley joins us at 8:40, and Jimmy Watkins will stop by at 9. The lineup brought to you by the Roofers at John Higgins Weather Guard. Sharp and Betting in the morning. There's Damon. I'm Gary. Jimmy is making his debut as our brand new producer. We'll get to know Jimmy coming up a little bit later on. Sharp and Betting in the morning at 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Can it make the season again? No. There's still 11 games after that, and they have to take care of business. And it's a team that has not, a program that has not. They were 4-2 in 2019.
Right.
The only loss in conference they had was to Ohio State. They were from the East. But this one, no, they got to start out with a win. You, in a way, want to just get the victory so it shows you proof of concept that what you did in the offseason works.
Mm-hmm. Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cool to start Monday, but another fantastic afternoon on the way. Expect sunny skies throughout the day with just a light northwest breeze. Highs around 80. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From a Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More time-saving traffic center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect some minor delays from 108th to 96th along L Street. Then on Center, be prepared for just a tad bit of slowdown from 192nd to 175th. But other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More.
September is Hunger Action Month, and this month you can join Burton in supporting Food Bank for the Heartland. This month, if you donate 5 cans of food at the time of service, you get a furnace safety inspection and cleaning for only $55. Request service at justcallburton.com.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. It has been a great summer, but a new school year. The fall, crisp, cool weather will be upon us before you know it, and it is time for you to transition into crisp, clear vision. Who can help you do that? Of course, the fine folks at Kugler Vision, voted Best of Omaha, #1 LASIK provider in Omaha magazine. They changed my life in 2018. They can change your life today. Visit their website, schedule a consultation, kuglervision.com.
Psst, come here. I got a secret weapon that'll make your family happy. Real happy. It's my new caramel toffee cookie combo. My big chocolate chip cookie covered with caramel and toffee bits. Add any medium specialty pizza piled high with the best toppings and loads of mozzarella on top. Plus any medium one-topping pizza. Caramel toffee cookie combo. Order now. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Sunday morning is all about church, eggs, and the Sunday paper. But right next to church, it's made for hot takes and reactions. Severe Reactions. Michael Severe is back on 1620 The Zone with Severe Reaction. Sundays 8 to 10 and doesn't hold back on what went right and what went wrong on Saturday. He'll also take calls from the most important voice of all, yours. Severe Reaction. Sundays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Powered by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Only on 1620 The Zone.
At EasyCater, food for work is our thing. Maybe that's why we get orders from 93% of Fortune 500 companies. So what's up with the other 7%?
Everyone, meet our newest employee, Susan. She has an idea that is going to revolutionize our food ordering.
Hi, Susan. So nice to meet you.
Unfortunately, she just gave her notice, and today is her last day.
I'm going to miss her. Why don't all companies order through EasyCater? Who knows? Order 24/7 from over 95,000 restaurants on EasyCater.com. EasyCater, food for work. That's our thing.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is from Vala's Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard. Get 2 anytime passes for the price of 1. An $80 value for just $40. Over 50 attractions are included. The Pumpkin Eating Dragon, the new carousel, a barnyard challenge course, zip line train rides, and more. Vala's Pumpkin Patch, open September 23rd.
Zone Deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
When it's hot, the last thing you want is your home's AC to quit on you. At 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, our team of comfort specialists take the frustration out of the equation. From simple repairs to more complex fixes, we'll get you cool and comfortable quickly. Call 402-788-1234 or visit McCarthy's1hour.com for $50 off any repair.
Always on time, or you don't pay time.
Terms and conditions may apply. Independently owned and operated, licensed from their respective state or county.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. Sharp and Benning in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
For taking on this role, I felt like there's 9 games left in the season. And I think we owed it to the players. We owe it to our fans to give these players an opportunity these last 9 games. We've got good players on this football team. And so having a different voice and having some new energy and enthusiasm, I'm hoping can make a difference for this team.
And scouring the free agent wire for help on defense. Defense gave up 409 yards passing, 236 yards rushing.
Some of that is scheme, though. You know, you got to help your guys out. You got to help your guys out.
Why so much guessing?
You can't play it that way. I understand you can't. You're worried about, losing 50-50 balls. Nebraska didn't make one play on a 50-50 ball. Maybe one. Tommy Hill got one. But, man, you got to stop the run. They were going for 8 a carry. 233 yards.
Yeah, they finished at 7-8.
Yeah, about 8 a carry.
Yeah.
233. Like, you could not allow that team to run the ball. And they ran it at will. They ran it against 6 in the box with an uncovered center. And it's little things. Listen, it's a beautiful diagram. I just didn't have the heart. There's a lot going on, right? So I was just kind of chilling, and I'm thinking to myself, the play that they showed with Wynn and Reimer is all you need to know. Reimer's the B gap guy. Wynn has to have his head on the inside. So when he plays the block and he plays peekaboo to what would be Wynn's left, as you're looking at it on the television, his head needs to be on the inside. You have to read the neck. That is 101. And that way you don't have to have guys that grab the freaking dry erase board on television, tell you coming back from break, we got two guys in the same run fit. You got
guessing. So much guessing going on.
Do your job. Get your head on the inside. Let Reimer fit B gap. There can be no color to show. And it's still not how I would love it, but far be it from me. But you're still putting yourself in situations where your guy better be better than their guy. And if he's not, you're creased. It's too risky. And I know they tried to play a lot more man with the ones on the outside, but you're getting all those rub routes. You said one of the keys was to figure out how to play the crossing routes. Where do your eyes go? I mean, that was straight checkers and chess. That was probably the thing that I was the most disappointed in, because I felt like Coach Chins was capable of protecting his guys, and he didn't really protect them. They don't have good they don't have a lot of good players. So you got to figure out the scheme and turn those guys loose. Like, you have to start playing to strengths. Maga Clements is not a guy that can cover up for slow playing at the point of attack. You have to let him hit it and split it. He's a gap guy. He's not a guy, I don't think, that can play behind a hold him up kind of defensive line. Because it just doesn't click for him quick enough. So you got to kind of play to those guys' strengths, or they can't play. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. Or they just can't play. They're smaller, quicker guys that kind of guess. So let them hit their fit on the run. Take your chances. I know it's high risk, high reward, but it's better than letting a fifth D line or offensive lineman just get to the second level at will because he's uncovered.
Yeah. And find me some hit stick guys.
Yeah, physicality is a problem.
Major problem.
Remember when people were tweeting me that they were tired of me, or not tired of me necessarily, but why did I keep asking the question about yards given up versus yards average per carry? Wasn't good.
Yeah. If Van Treese, who read the defense and made it simple and had a nice night at the office.
Think they didn't have that one in the bag for the QB run game?
Oh, Jesus. What a great call. I mean, they read that from my location.
Oh.
Well, now you got Dylan Gabriel that's walking in the door this weekend.
Gonna have to figure out how to play QB run game.
951-1620. Want to get in the conversation after a day that we've done way too often around here yesterday. We start the hour with Brian. Good morning, B.
Good morning, fellas. How you doing?
Good. Good to see you on Friday.
Okay. Hey, the court case was really good. Real good. I'm not going to, bash Scott Frost, everything. I'm going to say this. I don't know, Damon, you really remember kind of what my main gripe has been, or how I felt, kind of like almost like I throw my hands up in the air saying, hey, I see people making decisions down there. It doesn't seem, I basically said it got to start from the top. That's what got to be what's wrong with the program. We don't, I have to say, after listening to Trev this weekend, I feel very comfortable that he's going to be able to handle and help the Nebraska football program, for one, because it seems like he's not going to just listen to anybody or everybody in the state. He's actually going to do the search like he should and stop depending on referrals that he'll get for coaches from Craigslist or something like that. So I feel very comfortable with the direction that we're going to go with Trev. We'll go ahead and suck up this year because, to be truthful, it doesn't look that promising. I was feeling watching the game, the third quarter, I started saying to myself, man, we really looking at the prospect of just winning one game this year. And my morale wasn't really high. But after listening to Trev again this weekend, I feel very comfortable that her leadership is going to go ahead and get us in the right direction. He's going to go ahead and do his searches correctly and thoroughly, and maybe I believe we'll get a better result in the future with him.
Yeah, this is a test for test for everybody. Now you just have to let him do his job.
Mhm.
I think it's pretty critical because we tried it some other folks way before, and I was in favor of it. I mean, let's just be honest here. Like I was in favor of him giving Coach Frost a shot this year because I felt like it was in everybody's best interest that it try to work out. Plus, I wanted to see, just selfishly, right? I wanted to see, okay, if we give him enough help and enough tools, but still,
Could you clean up some of the stuff that has ailed him?
no,
But that didn't happen.
It was so stressful. It was, and right, I haven't been at my best these last 3 or 4 months, but it's like you know what you know, and you're hoping that it's something different because over time it should reveal itself. So I didn't have to ask myself the question, gosh, is this arrogance or ignorance? Right? Is this arrogance or ignorance? And I think I have my answer, but it's just frustrating that some of this stuff is within your control. Right? It's different. Like if you're 0-27, then there's not a ton you can do about it. Versus, okay, and it's hard not to look at it like that because you have the resource. If you want a new guy, you go get a new guy. You got new staff. And I go back and it was just maddening because I'm scrolling back through text, through screenshots, through phone dialogue. There are things I know there are things that that we talked about in the summer. And it's like, okay, it's not going to be like this. Like somebody's going to say,
You finally get out of your own way, and it's for the good.
But it's not just this just isn't a Coach Frost thing. Like I'm not gonna I know people are like, man, this dude. I'm not gonna hammer Frost, even though I am disappointed about some things because people need help. And if you're enabling, you gotta, God, I want to say this so bad. You gotta go to. And the whole thing for me is to just finally get everybody moving in the right direction. Don't be the hallway whisper guy. Don't be the because that didn't do any, but where'd that get you? And the unity or the lack of unity amongst adults that trickle down into the kids. And I know you people get mad when I say kids, but until they start making adult decisions, I'll call them kids. So forgive me if you will. Give your boy a little grace. You have to model the behavior that you want. The worst thing that people can do if you don't care about someone is turn them over to themselves. If I didn't care about the show or you, I'd just say, hey, man, Sharpie, do your thing. Do whatever you want to do. And I'm going to trust that, man, you're going to make good decisions 100% of the time. That's not even real life. Life wasn't designed to be done by yourself. It just wasn't. So as much as you have to be able to receive instruction, folks have to be willing to give it too. Like, I want to know when I'm out of pocket. And just the same as I'd like for you to be able to hear if somebody tells you if they're out of pocket. I told you we had a super difficult meeting after Grand Island. We didn't leave that building till 1:00. That's a hard conversation to have. But I'd like to say we're better for it heading into last week's game, right? But it had to happen. And people are uncomfortable in that room.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, if your culture is such that you're for somebody else, and I can trust that you're for me and vice versa, you receive it differently. But you can't make that stuff up. It has to already be in place. I have to already have a certain a certain relationship with that staff, or the culture has to be such that we can have conversations and people can tell me what I need to know, and vice versa, and it works. Right? I just had the conversation. Coach Sikora, bless his heart, love the guy, right? I was very kind of afraid, right? I'm like, gosh, he's different. I don't know how to do this. And like, it's weird because now he's kind of like my sounding board. I talk to him about all sorts of things, right? And the other day, we made a decision. It was kind of counterculture to what we normally do. Made a decision during practice to do something. It played itself out.
Mm-hmm.
It was very it just was different than kind of how things would normally be done. It happened. We went on to the next day. We're sitting in the coach's office, and he came in and he said, "Hey, we needed to handle yesterday better." He basically did not like kind of what transpired. Normally, if I didn't think that he cared about us or me or whatever, I would have been offended, right? Like, well, just because it's like I could have I could have said 15,000 different crybaby things, right? No, I understood it. Do you know why? Because he's for me. He can say whatever he can say whatever he wants to me or the rest of the defensive staff, because that was really what it was about. And it's gonna be fine. Because that's the culture, because I know that he cares about what we're doing on the defensive side of the
You know
ball.
what part of that discussion is another code word that Trev used yesterday: authenticity.
That's all how many times do I say that? That's all I care about.
Authenticity.
Like, whoever you are, like, just do that.
Yeah. That's why in this coaching search, that'll be an important thing.
Keep it simple.
Authenticity.
Keep it simple. And it's like, he's telling you, Jimmy, do we have that little stretch pulled up? You can just yes or no me, where he talked about kind of what he was looking for, and he couched it by saying this wasn't an indictment of Coach Frost. This is just what he was looking for in a search, and he wanted to be clear with it.
Always believe that great coaches are people of character. I think they're people managers. They're culture builders. I think they're grinders. A lot of the great ones don't have a whole lot of hobbies. It's all they know, and so those types of things. And I think young people, as we've moved forward, have changed a little bit. So I think being able to identify and relate to the modern student athlete and all that they're going through, and all of the new things like NIL and all those types of things are very important. But the basic fundamentals of authentic leadership, is this somebody that the players are willing to follow? It's just basic types of leadership things that are really, really important to me. And I like people who hate to lose. I like people who hate to lose more than they enjoy winning. And I got to be really careful when I say those things, because I certainly don't mean to infer and imply that our previous coach didn't have those things. And I want to be very clear about that. That's not fair to Scott. What I'm saying is that's what I have found. No matter if it's a football coach, basketball coach, or a volleyball coach, there's some very core and key fundamental characteristics that help to define each of them. And those are the types of things that I believe in as well.
That was the AD yesterday.
Is there how do you know how much is in that?
Yeah, all non-negotiable. So that's the authenticity part of the process and what happened with Nebraska football. All right. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this hour. When we return, Sharp Betting in the Morning at 1620 The Zone.
The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect some minor delays from 108th to 96th along L Street. Then on Center, be prepared for just a tad bit of slowdown from 192nd to 175th. But other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott.
Husker football season is underway, and my friends at Tickets for Less are here for all your Husker ticketing needs, home and away. You want to secure tickets for the next game, or you need to sell your seats for a future game, Tickets for Less can help. Shop the best selection of Husker tickets now at ticketsforless.com, or you can call and order over the phone at 402-398-1999. If you love your Huskers and saving money, ticketsforless.com should be your go-to spot. With no per-ticket fees, you can always save big over the competition. Shop today at ticketsforless.com.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Join Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner and me for a Week 1 matchup between the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson makes his return to Seattle wearing Bronco colors and looking to get his new team off to a winning start. Can Geno Smith and the Seahawks spoil the plan? Join us to find out on Monday Night Football.
Right here on 1620, The Zone.
You're at the game, and that hot dog and soda came back to haunt you with heartburn. You've got to get it under control with a few antacids. Till bedtime, then the heartburn comes back. Does this happen to you? Instead of fighting your heartburn, block it with Prilosec OTC so you can celebrate your team's victory without heartburn distracting you. Taking one Prilosec OTC pill in the morning can prevent excess acid production with one pill a day. 24 hours, zero heartburn. Prilosec OTC. Used as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
O'Reilly. Trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your car. Like 5 quarts of Mobile One Full Synthetic, now just $33.95, plus earn double O Rewards points. Extend the life of your vehicle, improve performance, and protect your engine against sludge and wear with Mobile One Full Synthetic at O'Reilly Auto Parts and O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The passion and excitement of high school football continues every week, and the High School Football Update covers it all every Saturday morning. Join veteran sportscasters Jim Kelter and Torrey Pantalian Saturday mornings 8 to 10 on 1180 The Zone.
Get a full breakdown of what went right and what went wrong immediately after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Also brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. Join the show immediately after the game and sound off with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Big Red Overreaction on 101.9 The Keg and 1620 The Zone. Sharp and Betting in the Morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app. Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles.
All right, a little bit later, Scott Chanley will join us. Thoughts on the NFL. Sure he's excited. The Saints came back. They were down 16 with 12 minutes to go and beat the Falcons late last night. If you stayed up for it, maybe the worst game of the day. 19-3, the Bucs beat the Cowboys, and Dak Prescott looks like he's out 6 to 8 weeks. Sorry for Cowboy fans. Your season may be over before it even started.
Early.
Yep. So we'll get into that with Scott and then Jimmy Watkins as well on Sharp Betting in the Morning.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
The Zone Hotline is powered by Luss Hills Harley-Davidson, your home in the hills.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Come on, when was the last time you had your Fernando's fix? It doesn't get any better than lunch, dinner, carry-out, even catering from Fernando's. Get your Fernando's fix. 114th and Dodge, 75th and Pacific, and FernandosOmaha.com.
At Dingman's Collision Center, you voted them first place in Best in Omaha for the past 17 years. So they want to say thank you for choosing the Dingman family and their incredible technicians to repair your vehicles. At Dingman's, they'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less.
Suicide can be prevented by knowing the warning signs. And most importantly, knowing what to do if you recognize those signs in yourself, a loved one, or even a stranger. There are simple ways you can be there for someone, so they can be here for more tomorrows. Visit moretomorrowsne.org to learn the signs, how to approach the conversation, and where to get help. Or call 988 for help now. That's moretomorrowsne.org.
It happens every day, and homeowners are victims every time, unless they call us. Hi, this is Garen Armstrong with Shamrock Roofing. Recently, a local homeowner with an aging roof had 2 well-known roofing companies out. Neither found hail damage for an insurance claim, but both happily submitted bids for a new roof. Then the homeowner called Shamrock Roofing. We found significant hail damage and sat with the homeowner when he filed his claim. We were there again when the insurance adjuster came out. And when the insurance company tried to deny the claim, the homeowner appealed with his evidence from Shamrock. The insurance company then approved the full claim for a new roof. Shamrock Roofing helped the homeowner get his roof when the other roofing companies could not. That is exactly why we say call Shamrock Roofing first, especially if you're wondering about possible wind or hail damage. If you have it, we'll find it. One call does it all. Call Shamrock Roofing today or find us online at shamrockroofer.com.
Let me get you up to speed on the service that you need.
Brian recently had us tow his all-wheel drive Mercedes from another shop. He was told it needed a new transmission for over $4,000. As it turned out, the reason he had no Ford was because his front CV axle was bad. We replaced the axle for a few $100 and he was back on the road.
You know what a booster shot can be like? Charging a cell phone. Just like a cell phone charger helps restore your battery, a booster is given after a primary series vaccination to enhance or restore protection against COVID-19, which wanes over time. Boosters are recommended for people 5 years and older. Schedule a booster appointment as soon as eligible. You can even make the appointment on your phone, as long as it's charged. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
At EasyCater, food for work is our thing. It's literally all we've done for 15 years. Whether you need to feed a meeting or the whole company, we're here to make sure the food is professionally delivered, on time, as ordered, and all within your budget. No wonder we get orders from 93% of Fortune 500 companies. Food for work is what we do, and no one knows it better. Order 24/7 from over 95,000 restaurants on EasyCater.com. EasyCater, food for work. That's our thing.
Cubby's supports the PACE program with Raise Some Dough. For every large pizza sold at Cubby's in the Old Market, Cubby's gives $1 to the Police Athletic League, serving at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children with athletic and educational programs. PACE has over 5,800 program participants. The league reaches kids that would not normally be able to participate in athletics like soccer and baseball due to financial situations and family dynamics. PACE wants to give every kid the opportunity at athletics and a healthy and safe environment. If you'd like to support PACE too, go to paceomaha.org.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel, évidemment.
Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Sharp and Benning in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app. Here are Gary Sharp and Damon Benning.
I communicated to Mickey that Mickey's the head coach. I won't meddle in Mickey's decision-making process. I encouraged Mickey to be the head coach and make decisions as the head coach. And so he'll ultimately have.
All right, hour 2, Sharp and Betting in the morning. Now it's on to Oklahoma week. 13.5 is what the spread on FanDuel, promo code zone, has swelled to. The total is 65 for an 11 a.m. kick with big nude kickoff coming to Lincoln, Nebraska. All right, welcome back in.
Thank you.
How you doing? Good morning.
It's wild out
How
here.
about those Chiefs?
It is. How about those Steelers?
I feel for you because the vibe is a little bit dulled.
Yeah, with
Because
Watt.
of TJ Watt, who was fantastic until he got hurt. But that was maybe the game of the day.
They're
in terms
next
of just pure craziness.
They're totally next men up. That's their organization.
Yes, they are.
And
but
Watt may be
that's-
different because that's your 18 sack guy. But I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic.
And you got Najee
Isn't that
Harris
what-
is hurt too.
Isn't that what got me here?
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know what? One quick thing before we get into some emails and some tweets and the phones. I was cleaning out. Gosh, I think I have a picture of this. We may have created this theme, like one of our first years together. I have a T-shirt that says, it's the 2013 season that says cautiously optimistic for the Nebraska season. That when I was cleaning out my closet like a month ago, I thought, you know what? Maybe I should start wearing that. And I thought, wait a minute, 9 years later, is that the theme of this season? Well, and the first 3 games happened. All right. Well, there is part of what happened Saturday night that we got to discuss because that is still there moving forward. But of course, the big story here after yesterday, Trev Alberts dismissing Scott Frost, the head coach, after 47 games, 16-31. The numbers are what they are. People can rattle them off ad nauseum. They knew October 1. And so Trev makes the decision yesterday. Mickey Joseph is the interim coach. There are other changes that are going on that will be probably not apparent to all of us, but internally, how they practice and some of the other things will be pretty evident when you show up for practice today. Mickey actually will address the media tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm
98.6%.
I think I'm 99.9% sure. Well, I mean,
yeah, I know, but you got to give yourself a little leeway.
I'm 99.9% sure now that we will see some responsibility changes as well within the staff. So that'll be something to. I mean, if you're looking for hope, don't think that they're just standing pat because they're not. That's really the essence of what I'm saying.
And it also is. I don't know that clear is the right word, but for a guy like Mickey and you're observing day-to-day stuff that's going on and you have an idea of what would help this team as a wide receiver coach, that maybe you suggested that maybe it's not the right time to make changes, that he has been thinking about this. And so in a discussion with his athletic director, when you're elevated to the interim head coach and Trev goes, what do you think we need? And Mickey goes, let me pull out something, and pulls out the list and goes, I think we would benefit from blank, 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 blank. And your AD says, do it. It says a lot. That says a lot. All right.
It's a lot going on. Man.
I got to compartmentalize because this is a week. I mean, there's playing football this week.
I know. And
there's a number 6 team in the country's rolling into town on Saturday.
Got to be on my game. Let's shake this off.
We're not talking about Miller North?
Yeah, that's going to be a handful,
Hey,
too.
they upset Millard South.
It's a heck of a win.
No.
That was the shot heard around the world, in my opinion. Rivalry game. I think people were feeling good about Millard South and obviously carved that film up in about 5 hours now.
I guess I'm leading you into this because you and I have talked since. But I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, better news on Caleb or potentially better news on Caleb?
Yeah, potentially. But we'll know more at 12:45. Potentially. I mean, good win though. It was a costly one, but really, really good win. But back to Millard North, real quick. Those young guys, Vermas, Mooberry, 8 and 24, 22, their fullback. Like, remember where I said that's an interesting team? They're an interesting team. They're young.
Yeah, they went young a couple years ago.
But they're interesting. Now we'll see what happens with Quaintance and if he plays. But it's kind of the team that intrigued me in the preseason. They show you flashes.
Yeah.
Figure out how they want to play.
All right, 951-16-27-20 on this Monday morning, the start of silly season. And we've only played 2 weeks. And people in Ames are PO'd at us. We've done nothing to you.
Why are they
So you
mad?
should- I don't.
Do they want to talk Iowa State, Iowa?
They should be happy. They had a 21-play drive that ended in a touchdown, and they beat Iowa, and they've been invited to the Big Ten because of their victory. Bad weekend for the Big Ten West, unless you were Minnesota.
Yeah,
Well, Illinois got a nice win, but the Big Ten West.
That's my Big Ten West. I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. My Big Ten West champ right there.
Illinois?
Minnesota.
Oh. Tanner Morgan getting his former OC back has benefited him greatly.
I don't know. It just sets up the best for them.
They play Colorado, who may be
not very good.
Who may be making a change with their head coach.
Yeah, fantastic call on Josh Odson with his stone cold locks. I liked it too. I loved it. I was like, dang, that's a good call, Josh. 17.5 in Air Force, Colorado. Did we go 3-1? Only Connor Happer took the collar, right?
I had KU.
And I had Tennessee.
All right. Bam. We're back, baby.
And Yeshua had the most comfortable of the games in taking Air Force.
Yeah.
Giving the 17.5.
Little did I think that Air Force would whack Colorado. Beat them, but you think Air Force would whack Colorado? Colorado's
at 20-10 when it was in the downpour, you're like, oh, maybe Colorado has a chance. Yeah, no, that'll be it for them.
How you doing, Troy Calhoun?
Man.
How you doing?
There's a lot of guys. I'm sure we'll get into that shortly.
How you doing, Troy Calhoun in Colorado Springs?
You know who I like, kind of. Nah, this isn't the segment. I just get to know guys through recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it against what I see. So I get to say, oh, okay, you said that to me about him and this guy and recruiting and what your program is about, and then I watch you play. There's a handful of guys that interest me.
A couple guys in the Sunflower State had a good weekend.
I mean, a handful of guys that interest me.
Mm-hmm.
One in particular, even though they're coming off a loss, but it wasn't the defense's fault. I kind of like Jim Leonard too, man. He's a stud.
Would this be a quick time to talk about Wisconsin?
Yeah,
Power 5 schools in September.
We've talked about that window.
I think now they've lost 4 straight September games to Power 5 opponents. They were sloppy. They penalty all kinds of penalties.
The penalties, man.
On that was a bizarre game against Washington State.
Who are they? West Side.
But that was.
And we had 18 penalties.
29 in the game. You should have seen the piece of paper that our statistician was working with.
Yeah,
I turned to John about midway through the fourth quarter. I go, "How many is that?"
It's not.
He goes, "That's a lot."
Not good. Yeah. Won't be good today.
Gonna be a lot of running.
No, we don't use running as a punishment. It's a reward. You earn the right to get in shape. It'll be other things.
I've never looked at that as a reward.
Yeah, we
run.
don't. I'm a big fan of it. I don't know why coaches use running as a punishment. Like being fit is a bonus. Figure something else out.
Upstairs, Denny Furix, my former football coach at Urbandale, rest in peace. Why didn't you listen to that? All right, here is Lance. Good morning, Lance.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
What's up?
Good. As far as congratulations first to Coach Joseph. who is the first African American head coach at Nebraska. So props to him. And I think from the people that I talk to, I think we will see a much more direct communication from him to the guys on the team, and our practices should be harder. So hopefully that may sway a game or two in our favor. I hope that he has the opportunity to grow here and maybe lengthen his career, even if not as a head coach. So props to him if that's what shakes out. But then my biggest question is, I know Trev does not want to meddle, but I think when you look back to every last head coach that we've had since Coach Osborne was here, do you think in his interview he will make it a requirement to not hire friends or brothers or anything like that? Or do you think that plays out in that process? Because it seems like from every guy, even independent of whatever issues they have, they always have a few guys that seem to be the weak link, and it's because of a personal connection. Do you think that's something that he'll ask in the interview?
I don't know that you want to go there.
Yeah.
But I think if in this process, if you're hiring somebody, you trust their best judgment that they're going to put together a staff on and off the field that is all in the right direction for being successful in developing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got to develop and get to a championship program. I mean, Trev wants to win so bad.
And you have a football guy.
Yeah, which will, I mean, and then you have a guy that also, I think, can read people's authenticity. So they're knowing. But there's now accountability has returned to that floor of the stadium where you can't, take advantage of certain things and not be held in check and say, hey, you know what? I don't think that's the good for the program. I don't think that's helping us win. Okay, maybe we should do this different. And you look at it. Now, Bulk Dog brought up something that I said, you got to move on. But this one, some guys are going to talk. Players are talking now. And, there's some guys that are sad. And, they develop a relationship with the head coach. And, he's no longer here. Some guys, this is the portal world. Some guys have went through this last year. I mean, Gary Patterson. Tom Herman, end of the year, gets the Ziggy. When you're Casey Thompson, and all of a sudden you bring in a new coach. But the part of moving forward with accountability, but moving forward that this season is not lost. Season to get off to a great start. But you're not going to just all of a sudden kick the season to the curb and say, we'll wait for the new guy in 2023. I'm telling you, those guys will be exposed pretty quickly if that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a quote from yesterday that I think needs to be fixed, and maybe it will be moving forward. This is from Tommy Hill, and we've talked about the blending of guys that have been here against guys that just arrived, and how quickly you're able to put them together in the mentality. And we saw that come out after the Northwestern game, how people approach that loss, whether you're Garrett Nelson or a Casey Thompson. And I even think some guys after Saturday night's game where, oh my God, it's over. And some guys, well, you know what, got to move on. But this is a Tommy Hill. And now Tommy Hill, you got to play better, son. All right. Be a hit sticker.
No.
Your position coach called you a dog in August. And you know what? You've thrown up on the carpet for 3 weeks. So he said this.
I'm not even so sure he recognizes I don't know. I'm not going to hammer it, but I mean, I'm not so sure how comfortable he is with their schematics either.
Well, and he's not alone on that side of the ball. You got guys that are guessing, or it appears very much that they're guessing. The eyes don't have it. Just simple little things before you ever get to, hey, this is what we're supposed to do on this play. But he was asked this yesterday, and I think because so Jimmy Watkins got the job of standing outside of the stadium and talking to players. And Jimmy's going to join us coming up at 9. He asked Tommy Hill what needs to change with Nebraska football. And, Hill just got here from Arizona State, said the Huskers need to cement, quote, more into a bond, quote, being more into a whole circle. Hill continued, quote, not two circles. Jimmy asked the follow-up, why has that been Hill's experience? Quote, I can't tell you. He said, I just got here. Mathis, also talking to Jimmy, says he hasn't noticed any, quote, push-pull, as he called it. But he does believe that the Huskers need to change their, quote, losing culture. Get a follow. What that means, hard to describe. Quote, but the energy is different. Those guys were speaking out of pocket.
No.
But they're two guys that just got here. So that's an observation that I go, okay. All right.
Well, yeah, and I think that's why. I mean, there's a lot, right? So when I think the wrong mindset to have in the offseason was just get to a certain number, right? Because, and that's something that you won't have to worry about with, excuse me, that's something you won't have to worry about with a new coach, right? Because there won't be that bare minimum. When you start talking in terms of bare minimums, it just creeps into your subconscious. So, hey, we got to get to 6 or we got to get to 7 or we just got to get to a bowl game. Like, see, those things are out the window now. So now you just get to kind of drill down and coach, which is what it should have always been. But it's just hard to reconcile when your job is on the line, right? The human element of that is like, okay, gosh, what do I have to do to survive? That was the downside to this season. So I think that culture part in terms of losing, I like the fresh infusion of energy, because when you're talking about Coach Joseph in particular and what his future means for head coach, I don't know. But remember, he's the guy that coined the phrase, I can't miss what I've never had. And so that clean slate of perspective is one in which I think will infuse a little spirit into practice, which is really the second place where this all starts. The first place that it starts is in North Stadium. What goes on in meetings, the game plan, the preps, getting ready for Monday through Friday. That's where it starts. Then it goes to practice. Then it goes to how you carry yourself throughout the week when you're not at practice. Then it goes to games. That's the order. Ask anybody that's ever played the sport at a high level or had success. That's how you have to think about it. Good leadership, right? Good practice, good off the field while you're not practicing. That lends itself to giving yourself the best chance to win when you're on Saturdays.
32 past the hour. We'll take some more calls, 951-1620. Always email Gary Damon at 1620thezone.com or at Gary Sharp 1620 at Damon Benning on Twitter.
11-1 per completion. Not near as mind-boggling as the 7-8 per carry, but no sense in splitting hairs.
Cal Van Treese likes throwing the football around Memorial Stadium.
Currently.
And again, his comment after the game, we saw them as equal, the skill, the talent, and the coaching when we watched them on film. There's the fear factor in college football. If you're a Sun Belter playing somebody else, like Group 5, Power 5 has been eliminated. Get ready. I tweeted this out the other day as upsets were happening all over the place. 2007 was a bonkers year. We may have, because of so much movement, we may have just an off-the-rails 2022.
Yeah.
Where it's just going to be chaotic week to week. And also, if you haven't learned your lesson, when somebody says, this isn't a very good slate of games, it's going to be a
fantastic
crazy
slate of
weekend. Yeah.
Noted.
And upsets galore like we saw this past weekend.
Definitely noted.
And this weekend, I mean, Miami, Texas A&M is one of the big games. BYU, Oregon, one of the big games. And Nebraska, Oklahoma is a big game.
No team I've ever been happier to be right about than Texas A&M.
Ooh. A rough time in College Station. Jimbo Fisher, 35-15 through 50. Kevin Sumlin was 34-16.
Yeah.
The number one recruiting class, and then a terrible yell practice where that guy should be booted from campus for disparaging our friends from Boone, North Carolina, the home of Luke Combs' alma mater, Appalachian State.
I'm sure Luke Combs is probably more near and dear to your heart than mine. That's Stibbs, right?
Yeah, that's
the guy.
Stibbs.
Okay.
You'd like Luke Combs.
I like Stibbs.
Yeah, you like Luke Combs. Maybe not his music, but he's a good dude.
Is it because I like Stibbs?
Yeah.
Well, no, okay.
They both share some of the similar qualities.
I
Just
didn't
one is
really
more
see
famous
it.
than
I
the other.
just know people. Know people.
Oh, I
said
saw
that.
Luke Combs the first time. I said, "That's Mike Stibbs." They're brothers.
So what's he saying? Just give me like a song I can pull up. You know, any off the top? I'll just Google. Is it like the contemporary country? Is it the twangy? Like
No,
what
it's
we talking-
contemporary.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm checking him out. I don't wanna,
You end of next month, he'll be here in Omaha for a 2-night stay.
yeah, I'm not going to be at the concert.
Okay,
I'm
I understand.
just looking to get on.
I just thought in case you heard his music and you wanted to go, we could go sit in front row.
Man, it's probably not happening.
Okay, I'll just give it an offer.
You
We're
two
friends.
first. Keep me safe.
Sure, I'm betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
90-ish% of the time, the answer is always Aquaman. And brainwashing fish, you know what? Actually, Aquaman could come in handy because if he were over in Ireland right now, he could just stand on the Nebraska sidelines, brainwash all the people eating their fish and chips. Oh, yum. The fried fish jump out of the basket.
Come back to life.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, find your next truck at Woodhouse Buick GMC. Now, no matter what you do, and you're in the truck world or you're thinking about purchasing a truck for personal use or business use, you will find a premium capable GMC truck that is perfect for you. Now, you can make a statement when you're driving around the job site or out on town. As we look here on Dodge, there are trucks driving by. Yeah, there goes a GMC. Oh, that's a Sierra 1500 that's driving by right now that's got power in the front, luxury in the middle, and power in the back with advanced technology, robust powertrains, and smart features to work hard, play hard, and explore beyond the boundaries. Something that you want in a truck you don't have to worry about, and you want the driving experience. I've driven a Sierra 1500, nice and smooth. You're not. Check it out today. Stop by 119th and I, climate-controlled indoor showroom. Take it for a test drive, or you can explore it more online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Woodhouse Buick GMC, we are professional grade.
Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cool to start Monday, but another fantastic afternoon on the way. Expect sunny skies throughout the day with just a light northwest breeze. Highs around 80. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect some delays along westbound I-80 from 72nd to 60th, and then along L Street, be prepared for some delays from 138th to 120th. And if you're traveling northbound along the JFK, be prepared for some pretty significant delays near 25th and Q Street. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Everyone knows Saul's pays top dollar for your gold, but Saul's pays cash on the spot for your precious metals too. Silver, gold, platinum, coins, bars. Who wants to wait to get paid? Get to Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Saul's Jewelry and Loan. You'll find it all at Saul's Jewelry.
J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers, offers exterior solutions that help you protect your number one investment. Whether it's roofing and siding or windows and doors, they're committed to excellence, quality, and outstanding customer service in every step of the process. When it's time to protect the exterior of your home, your choice is simple. Turn to who the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Check them out online and schedule a free estimate today. J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers.
O'Reilly.
Trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your car. Like 5 quarts of Mobile One Full Synthetic, now just $33.95, plus earn double O Rewards points. Extend the life of your vehicle, improve performance, and protect your engine against sludge and wear with Mobile One Full Synthetic at O'Reilly Auto Parts and O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At EasyCater, food for work is our thing. It's literally all we've done for 15 years. Whether you need to feed a meeting or the whole company, we're here to make sure the food is professionally delivered, on time, as ordered, and all within your budget. No wonder we get orders from 93% of Fortune 500 companies. Food for work is what we do, and no one knows it better. Order 24/7 from over 95,000 restaurants on EasyCater.com. EasyCater, food for work. It's our thing.
You know what a booster shot can be like? Charging a cell phone. Just like a cell phone charger helps restore your battery, a booster is given after a primary series vaccination to enhance or restore protection against COVID-19, which wanes over time. Boosters are recommended for people 5 years and older. Schedule a booster appointment as soon as eligible. You can even make the appointment on your phone, as long as it's charged. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Get a full breakdown of what went right and what went wrong immediately after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Also brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and more. Join the show immediately after the game and sound off with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Big Red Overreaction on 101.9 The Keg and 1620 The Zone.
Let me get you up to speed on the service that you need.
Katie was recently told by a competitor that her transmission needed to be replaced. She thought the cost seemed a little too high, so she called us. We towed it from that shop and verified the transmission was in fact bad. We did the job and saved her over $1,500. Sometimes a second opinion can save you a lot of money. Don't overpay. Call Omaha Transmission.
Omaha Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Sharp betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
All right. Everybody could have figured out last year when Nebraska played in Norman that when they return to Lincoln and OU comes here for the first time since 2009, the matchup will be Brent Venables against Mickey Joseph. That is what we have. Mickey wanting revenge for what happened in Norman back in the 90s when he got shoved into the bench. I hope people remind him of that all week long. All right, welcome back in. Sharp Betting in the Morning. Here is John in Salina. Hey, good morning, John.
Good morning, Gary and Damon. I enjoyed meeting you guys last Friday.
Yeah,
thanks for stopping by.
Appreciate that.
And by the way, Jones Brothers, they have an awesome breakfast. So whoever doesn't go down there to check that out with you guys, they're missing out. But, so I have a thought on Trev when he starts his search. Just my feelings on this and what Nebraska needs to be Nebraska again. If you just go down the list of the last 5 coaches and why they were released, my opinion is Frank, his last year. I kind of remember Texas blowing us out, Missouri blowing us out, and Kansas State coming to Lincoln and blowing us out. So defense kind of lost track there. We know that Callahan, I think the offense was working for Callahan, but the defense was horrendous. Then we got Bo, and he was the defensive guy, and things worked well until his brother left, and then the defense went to you-know-what there. And Mike Riley, don't think he ever had a defense. And Frost, I think he just got fired because of the defense. So Nebraska's not going to be back until the black shirts are. So when Trev's doing his search, whoever he picks, we need to make sure that this new coach coming in brings an awesome defensive coordinator and pay that person. Whoever needs to get the top person out there. $1.5 million, $2 million, whatever, a Brent Venables type. That's what we need. That's my thoughts. I'll just let you guys enjoy the rest of your morning.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
I don't know if defense got him fired. I think that was that's the easy thing to say after, the start to this season but we got to get out of that mindset, right? But it's what we're conditioned to do. And it's weird because I'm just having this conversation right now. When you're on a team, there is no me versus you when you have when you're trying to arrive at the same outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're stressed in the moment, don't take the low hanging fruit and say, oh man, it was this or it was that. However you got there, it's probably a culmination of things. And there's been several stretches that as an offensive guy, Nebraska wasn't very good offensively, where the defense kept them in games. So I'm not going to isolate these last 3 games and say, oh, man, it was the defense, even though I've been a staunch supporter of Coach Chenander. Yes, Saturday, though, Saturday was bad, right? Schematically, you're in quarter, half, and you're trying to fit in the run game from 12 yards off the ball in A and B gaps. That maybe it's a little technical. It's not fun to say that out loud on radio, but if just think defensive guys,
not going to work.
You're in quarter, half, and you want your safeties to run fit in A gap from 12 yards off the ball. You can't do it that way. And it looked like, again, like this is not great radio because you need television. The first time that they got gashed, they were in the wrong front. They weren't even aligned right. So it doesn't give them a chance to have success. So I think they made the next adjustment in terms of their front, but it's about playing coverage behind it. Like that's the hard thing about, that's not hard. I shouldn't say that. That's the thing that the layperson doesn't understand about being a coordinator. It's not just about stopping one thing independent of another. It's how does the coverage help us in the run game, even though our D line is not interested in coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that matters. And you had 5 on 5.
That's really startling, but yes.
It's just how it is.
It's absolutely, with this team, yes.
Even the play that Reimer made where, he individually made a play over an uncovered center, like that was just one athletic guy making a play that you can't bank on.
Mm-hmm.
Schematically, it just wasn't very sound because you still only had 5 and at most 6 in the box. There were sometimes you had 5 for 5. Like that's just not, you can't play good run defense like that. So, I mean, schematically,
Georgia Southern picked them apart because they could see it.
Well, I think they had them in a bind because I think they felt Nebraska was married to a particular coverage, and that coverage dictated the front.
Mm-hmm.
And those two things need to be in sync, and they just weren't. And Nebraska didn't adjust, and so you give up 650. I mean, that's really what happened. You can talk about the athletes because that's relevant. And we said before, I liked Georgia Southern's skill, especially on the outside, and they won almost every 50-50 ball.
Yep.
They won almost every 50-50 ball. But Nebraska's in trouble at corner, in my opinion, outside of Quentin Newsom. I don't think Braxton Clark is it. So far, Tommy Hill hasn't been it. The secondary with all those numbers, man, they don't have 4 consistent guys that can help them out. They're in a bind.
Yeah, Braxton Clark all of a sudden in a key moment appeared on the field. Kevin Williams got to play as well, but the issues that ail that defense, you're going to say, are they capable of getting better? But what is the standard? But
here's the thing, though. You can't point fingers. Like, it just doesn't work that way. Like, Casey Thompson in a press conference can't say, I play offense. You can't. But because I'm just saying, like, if you
Iowa,
if you care about somebody, you're not going to do that to them. You're not. But if you've been a teammate before and you understand it's a team game and it's not one isolated thing, then you think like that. But if you're always into I'm defending me, then you don't care about the other person enough. You just don't. And just imagine the beauty that comes from if I care about you and have your best interests at heart, and you equally care about me and have my best interests at heart, there will be very little finger pointing, but just will.
Mm-hmm.
You should try it. It's pretty freeing.
Here is Walter before the break. Good morning, Walter. Welcome to Sharp and Betting in the Morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm calling you from the Ozarks, not from Omaha, so it's kind of a good thing getting out of town for a while.
Little Walter, what's up, buddy?
Man, but I got to tell you something real quick, man. The last time I called, it was the cucumber discussion, and then this time, the Luke Combs discussion, and Damon sitting in the front row. So you guys gave me a good laugh this morning.
Full circle, man.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Hey, I got a couple questions for you real quick. I'm going to throw a few things at you. One is, do you think Mickey's going to be sitting down with each individual coach and telling them what his expectation is, and what does that look like? Second, how does he deal with coaches who look like they're checked out because they don't think they're going to be here next year?
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'll throw at you is how sick or ill is our program when the transfer portal athletes see our program one way and our athletes that have been here see it another way.
And
Because
they're leaving another program because for sometimes they're not even happy.
Walter, that's a
fantastic point.
So let me go to the last part first.
I'll take the coach's body language too.
Okay. So this is whoever the sixth head football coach since in 25 years is in the offseason and moving forward for next year. Their high school football recruiting has to improve leaps and bounds. The vetting, the understanding that you can project and say, we've got a developmental staff that can take this prospect and make him something to be successful for our program and what we need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the portal's always going to be there. But Nebraska, to get where Nebraska wants to go, the high school football recruiting has to improve.
I'm telling you,
it
man.
has to improve by leaps and bounds.
People think I'm not like. I was saying this. I was with Matt Schick for a good portion yesterday, and see, I feel terrible because I'm in a solutions-oriented business, but it needs a frame of reference, right? We've talked about the sins of recruiting coming home to roost because Nebraska's inability to say out loud we're a developmental program. Sound familiar?
Hmm?
When you look for quick fixes, you lose the reality of yourself. Set it over and over and over again. When you look for quick fixes. So this is what I thought. Coach Frost, when he told me, he said, hey, listen, we're just chopping it up one day. And hey, man, I because I'm so competitive and because I need and want to win so bad, I compromised a few things. Recruiting. This was early. So we're talking about how 17 and 18 gets away from it.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like this year, with Ginta and a new vision, because I like the direction that's moving, that we're going to get back into the quality of and the core essence of what a player brings to the table and start thinking more about fit. But in the immediacy of having to win now, you roll the dice. And I said it could be dangerous if they have success in 2022, because I like the thought process going forward for 2023 and beyond about what they need. Right? You whiffed on two classes, both on the offensive and defensive lines, and it manifested itself. We talked about that a ton. When people said, who saw the problems with the defense coming? We talked about it for 6 months. It's a problem. I wasn't making that up. I don't ask about yards per carry versus yards given up because I like asking the question to 10 different people. It's an issue. So you have to get back to recruiting your base and developing. Like, the next coach can't be worried about the pressure of needing to win now. Coach Frost said he wanted to, remember the termite reference in the rotted wood and gutting? Like, it sounded good, but he didn't do it because the pressure got ramped up so quick. So he was stuck between, it's like Her. Do you know Her? Rockin' a Hard Place, the song? It's a great song, and Her is fantastic. It's just H period, E period, R period for those of you playing at home. Rockin' a Hard Place. Great song, by the way. He was stuck between a rock and a hard place because after year 2, it got expedited. And then you have you have some whiffs. I mean, look at the Lynn, Fritchie, Anders, like that class, no bueno. And Jakeem Green, Gonzo, Marquise Black, Gonzo.
And in 2022, it rears
Weaver
its ugly
can't
head.
play. Buckley can't play. Like, you're on the verge of it again with your secondary. I'm telling you, Singleton, Gould, no. Harsh written, no. So and that's, we're having discussions between Braxton Clark and Tommy Hill. What? You played a guy that just got here 2 months ago to get a penalty, and you sat his ass right back down because you were pissed. That's the scramble. You have numbers. You have no plan. because you sold your soul to the devil because you had to win immediately, you lost the reality of yourself. It's not any fancier than that. You had to be able to press pause real time and pour concrete. They went with plaster. And listen, sometimes you can go with plaster. Sometimes you're not always afforded the luxury of time, but you have to be sturdy if you're going to build with plaster. You can't be plaster-like and build with some shaky substance. One of the two has to be good.
Thus,
if you're going to be shaky, you better build with something solid. If you're solid, then you can afford to roll the dice with shaky. If you're both shaky, you get 45-42.
Yeah. Thus, the comments from the plaster guys compared to the comments from the glass guys.
Yeah.
So here I'll give you Luke Combs' song, "When It Rains, It Pours."
Well, they're going to be okay. I just get sick of like the isolated examples in a team game, right? Like, well, it's not just the defense. It's not just the offense. We always say something new when we want to assess blame. Like the whole thing has been bad.
Mm-hmm.
And you guess whose responsibility it is to play complementary football if you feel like one part of the ball is ahead of the other? That would be the coaching staffs. And it needs to be ingrained in the players. Hey, guys, listen, we got to protect one another here. We're a little vulnerable. We're not as far along here. So this is how we need to play. We got each other's backs. Are you with me? That's not, you don't hear that. You hear this side and that side. You cannot win like that.
And that's how you lose to two Sun Belt teams. When you give up 45. All the numbers, Saturday night, first time in 215 games at Memorial Stadium, you score 35 or more and lose a game. Just the fact that there was that kind of a game between Nebraska and Georgia Southern. All right, quick break. We'll get back. Another one of Walter's questions about,
the body language.
Yeah. So there is this moment, and I'll say this. We got to go to break, and we'll dive into this when we come back. Is the change happens this early, and Nebraska's 3 weeks into their season. College football is only 2 weeks, and it's September 12th, and it's silly season. Is there's still 9 more regular season games to be played. You have to do it what's best for where you're currently at, for you hope the connection with the kids and you understand your job and you want to be successful and realize the season is not being thrown away. But there's the natural reaction to start looking, but it is way early to do any of that. This is still the season. You know, you're not finding a new job on September 12th. You're not having your agent start to kick tires. The season just began. So that's down the road. I don't worry about that in the meantime, because I don't think that the guy that is in the interim head coach will allow that. I think guys still want to find a way to win football games and be successful. If not, what have they done since they started camp in August? That's not, I don't see that as being the case.
I'm telling you, do you know why the quick fix worked for Michigan State and not Nebraska? The same thing that this was pre-U that we made fun of their coach about. We felt like Mel Tucker was saying the same things he said at Colorado is the same things he said at Michigan State. Oh, man, this is just wash, rinse, repeat. You know the beauty of it? That was the core of who he was. See, he's like the stud in the wall where you can hang heavy things because you find the stud. And even if it's a little shaky because you think it's heavy, like the transfer portal, if the stud in the wall is sturdy, you can hang the goddamn picture. So for all the laughing and yucking it up we did about Mel Tucker and similar messages between Colorado and Michigan State, it is his staying power and consistency and resolve that allows you to take on water. The sturdier my boat is, the more water I can take on. If I'm freaking leaky, I cannot take on a ton of water. Nebraska was as leaky as all get out, so you have to be very selective about when you take on the water. That's why they're drowning.
Would you rather that your roof or siding last 5 years or 50 years? I'm Dan Thompson of Thompson & Thompson 3rd Generation. Products today last much longer. Gone are the days of just tear shingles off, nail shingles on. Whether it's impact resistant, high wind tolerance, or in the case of EuroShield hail-proof rubber shingles, you can have great designer looks and durability. At Thompson & Thompson 3rd Generation, we don't just give you an estimate, we educate you and give you options. So you decide, 5 or 50. Click Thompson 3rd today and start enjoying your new roof or siding.
All right, big game this weekend with everything that's going on. Nebraska plays Oklahoma. The Sooners are coming to town for the first time since 2009. Memorial Stadium, 11 a.m. kickoff this Saturday. Tickets for Less has your game day covered. All you have to do is go over to ticketsforless.com now, find the best selection of Husker tickets at the lowest prices, or call 402-398-1999 to work with one of their friendly customer care team members. Start at ticketsforless.com, then give them a call as well, 402-398-1999. Now, the one thing that you know if you've dealt with ticketsforless.com is you never pay lofty per ticket fees on any order, meaning you can save big money compared to the other sites. Go ahead, do your comparison, and you'll keep coming back to ticketsforless.com, just like myself. So you want to go to the Nebraska-Oklahoma game? Just check the website. There are good seats available at good prices. So shop now. Save on your Husker seats at ticketsforless.com.
Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620, The Zone.
With gas prices surging to over $4 a gallon, high wage costs, and an annual inflation rate of 9%, now more than ever, it's critical for small businesses to save on health insurance. Hi, I'm Mark Schlange, owner of Marketplace Nebraska, and I can help. Stop wasting money on health insurance. I recently helped a small business save over $60,000 in premiums. If you own a small business and are struggling with inflation, let's talk to save money. Visit marketplacenebraska.com. That's marketplacenebraska.com.
O'Reilly. Trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your car. Like 5 quarts of Mobile One Full Synthetic, now just $33.95, plus earn double O Rewards points. Extend the life of your vehicle, improve performance, and protect your engine against sludge and wear with Mobile One Full Synthetic at O'Reilly Auto Parts and O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired a stuntman to do their home renovations.
Just finished a new sunroom, Mrs. C. The best part is I used candy glass for all the windows, so you can do this and this. Doesn't hurt a bit either.
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
And if you don't want to take the long way to the kitchen, the walls are breakaway too. See?
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
Since this is a radio commercial, you can't see the people standing behind me. They're the Langfeld family. Everybody wave. Oh, sorry. You can't see them because radio. Anyway, the Langfelds are the family behind Langfeld Overhead Door, where they proudly install Midland garage doors to fit any space and style. And they don't take a backseat to anyone when it comes to their service. Because if something goes wrong, it's their name on the line. So they're going to make sure it goes right every single time. Langfeld Overhead Door, 402-234-2700.
This is Scott Schultz from Host Coffee. 2022 marks our 50th year and business has never been better. We are rapidly growing and adding new customers, which means we need new route drivers and service technicians. We have new jobs for those new to the industry with little or no experience, and new careers that require knowledge in the coffee and vending world. There's a good chance we have just what you need in a new job. Host Coffee offers competitive pay and understands the work-life balance. Apply today at hostcoffee.net/careers and join our team.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Sharpen betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
All right, more calls. Scott Shanley in the next hour. Sharpen betting in the morning.
Introducing the all-new 2 for $5 menu at Sonic. Can't decide on what to eat? We made the choice a little easier for you. Right now at Sonic, you can choose any 2 of these mouth-watering classics. The full-size Fritos chili cheese wrap, small crispy jumbo popcorn chicken, or a juicy quarter-pound double cheeseburger for just $5. Get more of what you want with the all-new 2 for $5 menu. Only at Sonic or in the app. Exclusions apply. Mobile ordering available at select locations. Hours may vary. Limited time only at participating Sonic drive-ins. Fritos is a trademark of Frito-Lay North America, Inc. Copyright 2022.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From a Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have one accident to report on 40th and L, so please be cautious if you are in that area. Then on Dodge, be prepared for some major delays near 168th. Then northbound along the JFK, be prepared for some major slowdown from 25th and Q Street to Chandler Road. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Lanahan Nurseries.
Trees supply oxygen, provide shelter, and reduce pollution. They're a symbol for life. Lanahan Nurseries is the metro area's premier homegrown tree source. Leave a legacy that matters. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lanahan Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Brookside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Brookside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 402-671-7777. That's 402-671-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Brookside Medical Clinic now. 402-671-7777.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Methodist Health System, the meaning of care.
When envisioning what kind of future is possible, the challenges never stop. And neither do we. Methodist, the meaning of care.
Email Sharp Betting on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me at Gary at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Question 5. Lucas and Carla have 3 homework assignments each. Lucas does his online at home, but Carla has no internet at home. If Carla has to travel 5 miles to find Wi-Fi at a noisy diner or a grocery store parking lot, how can she ever be expected to do well in school?
This is not a problem kids should have to solve. Cox Connect to Compete, providing affordable internet to lower-income students. Available to new residential Cox Internet customers who meet eligibility criteria. Other restrictions apply.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Sharp and Betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app. Here are Gary Sharp and Damon Benning.
Halftime Sharp and Betting in the morning brought to you by Harsh Cigars, Pipes, and Lounge. Great place to relax. We all just chill off the North 48th Street exit into Mormon Bridge Road. You want to enjoy a nice cigar, a nice cocktail. Harsh Cigars, Pipes, and Lounge has got you covered. Cool little ambiance located right next to Cubby's.
Obviously, we're going to do a national search. You know, we're going to engage some third-party help, mostly for logistics and other things. Want you to know as well, and I would encourage our fans and everyone to recognize there will be a lot of rumors out there. There's going to be a lot of innuendo. I want you to know that these sort of decisions and processes are not made in a silo. I have a lot of great mentors and friends that we'll be working with. And ultimately, you know, in a prior life, I have relationships with a lot of coaches in this business, and I intend to reach out to a lot of people. And so if you hear that Trev Alberts reached out to XYZ coach, it doesn't mean that I've offered the job to XYZ coach. I think there's some fabulous coaches out there that have a perspective about our job that I could benefit from. And so I'm going to reach out to a lot of people. And so if you hear that Trev Alberts reached out to XYZ coach, it might very well be true. It doesn't mean that I'm trying to hire that coach. I'd like to get that perspective. I'd like to get a perspective of a coach who isn't here right now about our job and what the uniqueness is and the needs and those sorts of things. So just want to be clear about that process. Obviously, there's been some changes in college football with the early signing date and transfer portal. There are considerations as we go forward as well. But most importantly, I'm going to do everything I possibly can, like I think we did for Scott, to support Mickey Joseph and the staff as best we possibly can. It's a group of young men that they're hurting. And, they care deeply about this place. And so we're going to do everything we can to support them and help them. They've got 9 games left. We've got a great opportunity this weekend against Oklahoma.
Sharp Betting in the Morning, 1620 The Zone, on TV, on the app, wherever you can get us as we kick off the silly season on the 12th of September. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind about Trev going into the coaching
It's
search.
not going to be the silly season.
That's what we're supposed to call it.
No.
We're making T-shirts.
Low
bumper
hanging,
stickers.
low hanging fruit. I think he's got a plan. It won't be silly at all.
That's what the phrase is.
Yeah, but it's not the off season. It's just Nebraska looking for a coach. This isn't.
It will be the
like
strategic season.
Yeah. It's not like the off season where the season's done and people just throw out coaches on the move. Like, this will be pretty specific.
So Trev will go into this. Nebraska will be the first Big Ten school, even though the check has not been put into the bank and will not be put into the bank for a little while. First school that will go into a coaching search with the Big Ten TV money behind it. And some wonder, what are the advantages of going early? Well, you can do a thorough search. And again, strategic and well thought out are phrases I'm going to repeat that I think Trev goes about this. But you don't know where this is going to go. There are all kinds of names that have been thrown out. Most of everybody, every site, every show has the same names. We didn't know last year when teams went into a coaching search, and some earlier than others like USC, that the sitting coach at Oklahoma and Notre Dame would change jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So anything is possible. Sitting Power 5 coaches that you would not expect, you never know. There is a lot of appeal to the Nebraska job. And the guy that is selling the Nebraska job knows that. And he knows exactly what the advantages are to Nebraska. And NIL, from facilities to the fan base to the conference.
NIL's got to definitely tighten up.
There is a large NIL collective that is starting here in Omaha.
Here it's brewing.
It is rather large and significant, as they say on the streets. That there will be more coming out here shortly. All right, 8:11. Scott Chandler's going to join us a little bit. We'll finally get into a little bit of NFL, but Scott's got a thought or two on what happened yesterday. But we start the hour with.
Did I tell you what a good hire I think Doug Ewald was?
What is up, guys?
Hi, Joe.
What's up, Joe?
How are you guys?
Good. How are you? Where you been?
I got to applaud you guys to having the fortitude to trudge through with very little, topics to discuss between high school football, Huskers, and the NFL. You guys have been able to keep the show going with very little to talk about.
Struggle's real.
Right. Well, all jokes aside, I think Damon sort of talked a little bit about, we thought one ex-Husker was going to save our program. It might not. We just might have had the wrong ex-Husker. It might be Trev instead of Scott. But we'll see. Time will tell. The roster management and at times the offense looked disorganized with, players shuffling in and out and these sort of things, that it just never looked like Frost was that overall CEO. I love Frost and I support him and I still do. I was at the game and, they honored his mom and, I think he loves the program as much as anybody. And, it's very unfortunate, but, I think in today's day and age, and maybe Frost didn't have the experience of it, but you look at like what some of these other big programs, Michigan, they bring in these big time, assistant coaches that, and if you're not comfortable with where you're at or who you are, you might feel a little threatened by how much, Alabama does it. They bring in Bill O'Brien. They've got all these other people, lingering around that are, head coach material. Everybody's ranting and raving about Sarkisian. Well, if you ask me, the reason he looked so good was because of that defensive coordinator they brought in. It was their defense that looked good. Granted, their quarterback went down, but, and I don't think Frost ever did that. Frost, like I said, the CEO, the sort of the overall management is what I think he sort of ultimately struggled at. Now, there were so many leaks in the dam. We could point at, he wasn't doing this, he didn't do that. Hindsight's 2020. But, whoever they bring in, I hope they're willing to sort of, because Damon was talking on plaster versus concrete, and that takes being able to bring in big time assistant coaches, or at least assistant coaches that are up for the challenge. And I'm not for sure we were there, and I don't want to bag on our assistant coaches. It wasn't them. I'm not trying to say it's their fault, but it also takes the patience from top to bottom, from the fan base, from the administration, from Trev Alberts. It takes time to make, to pour the concrete compared to plaster. I think we gave Scott ample time, because I was a big Scott Frost supporter, and maybe I was more of a supporter of we can't keep firing coaches, but hopefully.
Well, they can't
they'll
keep
bring
not
in-
working. That's the thing, though. That
Mhm.
it's not. And we keep saying that, but like, I'm always a what's the alternative guy. Like, what would have been the alternative?
Got to be able to manage a staff and manage players. It was Joe brought something up. So they honored Scott's mom on Saturday night on the field, the Hall of Famer.
Mhm.
And I know Carol a little bit, and so she was up in the press box during halftime. And I was walking down the hallway, and I stopped to say hello to her and asked her how she was doing. And then Mark Helfrich stepped outside of the FS1 booth, the Fox booth, and I introduced myself, and she looked at him and she goes, "What's going on?" Helfrich drops his head and he goes, "Carol, I have no idea." And I thought about that when everything went down yesterday. I'm like, gosh, how ironic. All right, here is Jay. Jay, thanks for the call. Welcome to the zone.
What's going on, fellas? How are you?
Good, Jay.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Well, it's a new day, guys.
Yeah.
I think all of Husker Nation is a little uneasy right now. And I say uneasy is because Saturday was a whirlwind of emotion. I made a post and said I literally looked at Nebraska football through the lens of reality Saturday, right? And it was appalling. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go back there again. I don't want to look at my team like a regular football team. I want to keep my Kool-Aid glasses on. I want to, be a fan. I want to pretend everything is okay. But Saturday was a little embarrassing because it was a heavy dose of reality, right? And then after Saturday, the aftermath of me feeling like, all right, the feelings of of Coach Frost being not the right guy just kept, rising and rising. And then to see that they went ahead and let him go on Sunday was, again, like, on one hand, you're like, yeah, but at the other hand, it's like, oh, man, does that mean that we're about to literally lose every single game from this point forward? Like, where is there a glimpse of hope? Like, where is there at least, some semblance of something good about to happen from this firing? But for whatever reason, I'm going to throw my glasses back on, guys, because I feel like if they give Mickey a legitimate shot, if Mickey, and my analogy that Mickey and Coach Whipple were not Frost hires, that they were, 50-50 hires between AD, Trev Alberts, and Scott Frost, and that means that the shit was already ready to somewhat turn. Like, there had to be some conversations that in the offensive room, like, if we did this, we could do this, or I don't know why he's doing it, or I would say this way: there's some second guessing, there had to be no continuity on the coaching staff, which we saw physically or visibly. So that makes me feel like maybe it'll get better. Maybe this could be one of those, you know what I'm saying? This is like some movie optimism, but like maybe it would be like one of those stories where the coach gets fired and everybody's inspired and they go out, do something that they didn't expect to do, and then it lights a fire under these young boys. Or it could be the other side, the worst case, where these kids love Coach Frost. You fire them, and now their heads are hanging down, and all of them are getting ready.
I don't know about that part though, Jay. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
what I was hoping that now.
yeah, like
because the guy they inserted as interim.
I
got an
think at
overwhelming-
the end of the day, they just want to be led. They'll roll with whomever. I really believe that. And listen, those that don't, that'll reveal itself too, right?
Yep. Jay, thanks for the call. Oh, that's everybody, whether it be Coach Williams out at USC last year, there's usually that initial 1-game, 2-game bounce. New energy, something different perspective. Hey, I want to show the coach. Let's say you're a backup, and all of a sudden you got an opportunity because there's somebody new, and you want to show them. You have that burst. There's always that 1 or 2-game bounce.
Yeah.
Now, I think we'll see that on Saturday. That doesn't mean they're going to beat Oklahoma, but I think you will see a team that will come out with a lot of energy. But just the response to when Trev walked into the room yesterday after everything that was going on, when they had the players meeting at 1:00 and Mickey is brought, and they announced that Mickey is going to be the interim, the response to him. I mean, he's been around here at least long enough that regardless of what side of the ball you're on, you've gotten to know him.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he's loud in practice. All right. He's a personality. He knows people. He's a good people person. So he knows a lot of those guys in the program, even if you don't play for him.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see a bounce initially. Now, how long can that carry on?
You
will
know,
be on everybody that has headsets and helmets.
you know way too much, especially being with me for as long as you have. But the one thing that I want to see get cleaned up immediately. I think I can say this. Just consistency and discipline, and keep the day-to-day drama off the field. A lot of guys go through a lot of things, but football is a privilege. So is being at the University of Nebraska. And if people and players don't understand those two things, get your ass out of here. Stop with the half in, half out. I'm here today. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. Or I'm in my feelings. I can't do this. And we're okay with it because we feel like those guys are holding us hostage. Get their ass out of here. It's not for everybody. It's a tough sport played by tough people. And the compromising that goes on with the whole days of our lives stuff has got to stop. It manifests itself on Saturdays and it permeates ill will. Put your foot down and go to work. Put your foot down and go to work. They're either with you or they're not. If folks need sidebar assistance, take all the time they need someplace else that doesn't happen during practice or in games and do what you need to do. There's probably 5 or 6 of those guys. Listen, if you're not helping, you're hurting. And if you're not coaching it, you're allowing it. And I can't say that enough. Cryptic or not, be pissed or not, that message, that has to happen.
Yeah, that's why I said there's going to be some guys that are uncomfortable.
Well, they need to be. It's a privilege to be there.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have been till September 12th. It is what it is. But they're going to be uncomfortable because the guy that has been observing is now running the show and is not afraid. And he's not afraid to call people out behind closed doors.
Just go it's okay, man. I can hit you on text. I can call you later. I can check on you from whatever state you're from. I still care about you. We just can't ride together. We just can't hang out, man.
Quick break. We'll come back. We'll run through some calls. We got Scott Shanley. He had about 20 minutes. Jimmy Watkins at the top of the hour. No media availability today. Mickey Joseph will address tomorrow. That'll be the weekly press conference ahead of all of the national media that all of a sudden will be in Lincoln, Nebraska Saturday for Nebraska and Oklahoma 11 a.m. Kickoff. 8:23 sharp betting in the morning at 16:20 The Zone.
Irrational confidence.
My rendition of Billy Joel's Piano Man brought down an entire section in the lower level of the MGM Grand in Las Vegas in 2019. I mean, had everybody just eaten out of the palm of my hand. And that was one of my greatest performances ever.
Irrational confidence. The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cool to start Monday, but another fantastic afternoon on the way. Expect sunny skies throughout the day with just a light northwest breeze. Highs around 80. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're still getting reports of that accident along 40th and L, so please be cautious if you are in that area. And then we also have a couple of accidents to report, starting with one along westbound I-80 near 60th Street, and that's going to be backed up all the way to 42nd, and you can expect delays of up to 5 minutes in that area. And then we're also getting reports of an accident with injuries on 43rd along Northwest Radio Highway, so please be cautious if you are in that area as well. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
IBEW has immediate openings for residential electricians. You'll receive top pay, fully funded family health care, retirement benefits, and up to a $1,000 sign-up bonus. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call 402-810-0789 now.
Marvin Windows has long been known for their lasting value and beauty. Karp's Complete Home Exteriors is Omaha's first authorized Marvin Windows replacement contractor. For a free estimate, call Karp's Complete Home Exteriors or visit karpsomaha.com.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has been making your game day experience one to remember for 18 years with our award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. But now your game day just got bigger and better with Oscar's newly upgraded audio-video system. Cheer on your favorite teams this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall, showing up to 8 games at once, and of course, 40 TVs and massive dual projectors. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
With gas prices surging to over $4 a gallon, high wage costs, and an annual inflation rate of 9%, now more than ever, it's critical for small businesses to save on health insurance. Hi, I'm Mark Schlange, owner of Marketplace Nebraska, and I can help. Stop wasting money on health insurance. I recently helped a small business save over $60,000 in premiums. If you own a small business and are struggling with inflation, let's talk to save money. Visit marketplacenebraska.com. That's marketplacenebraska.com.
Woodhouse Ford is your certified Ford dealer, serving drivers throughout Nebraska for 47 years. Our commitment to our customers continues well beyond the date of purchase. You will leave our lot feeling comfortable and confident in your new vehicle. Customers have been relying on Woodhouse Ford since 1975 for high-quality vehicles, knowledgeable staff, and exceptional service. Experience the Woodhouse Ford difference and shop at one of our 3 locations in-store or online at woodhouseford.com.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard Sense qualified technicians is just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
The passion and excitement of high school football continues every week, and the high school football update covers it all every Saturday morning. Join veteran sportscasters Jim Kelter and Torrey Pantalian Saturday mornings 8 to 10 on 1180 The Zone.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Sharp and Betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
Sharp and Betting in the morning, 1620 The Zone, the app, the TV, wherever you can get us. Our voice much stronger than Chris Collinsworth's voice last night.
Boy, he wasn't feeling well, huh?
Yeah, that was a little scratchy. You know who's not good on Sunday Night Football?
Who's that?
Jason Garrett. Not as a coach, but, well, he was as a coach.
I don't understand.
But also in the studio. All right, back to the
He
phones.
must have some serious stroke.
Yeah. And Collinsworth's son, who not only did Notre Dame lay an egg against Marshall, our man is 0-2. That broadcast was just like,
not good.
Here is Bill. Bill, thanks for holding. Welcome to Sharp Betting in the morning.
Hey guys, good morning.
Hi,
Morning, Bill.
Damon, hope everything's going well for your son. I heard you had a little bit of a ding on Friday night, or
Yeah,
you guys played.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. The one thing I wanted to kind of throw out there, I kind of fell in love with Nebraska football and Kentucky basketball. Sorry, Damon. Around 1992. One thing that happened when John Calipari got hired, and I'll be transparent, I hope we don't get somebody that operates in the shady gray area like that gentleman probably does. There's some things that are going to need to be said, and the fan base and our media corps is going to have to be able to deal with it properly. With as long as we've been down from a losing record perspective, the only way we can really build this back to where we all hope it can get back to is to really say we're going to develop professional talent. And I know that really rankled Kentucky fans at the time because, that fan base, I think, is kind of similar to ours. They want really hard tradition. They want kids that basically just are fully committed to the college experience level. But yeah, I mean, when they look to this next person, they've got to target somebody that is known to develop talent probably across both lines, and they need to sell that publicly so that hopefully we can get a better pipeline of players, at both lines and the skill positions. And short of that, I just don't see that it'll ever be able to get back to where it was before, because that's the thing that I know it drove Michael Severe nuts all the years Damon sat with him. I mean, the walk-on program was a supplement to the extreme talent that was around the program, and it injected a few pieces that were nice. But for people to, over the years, it's kind of like the walk-ons are the only ones that care about it, and that's not true. I mean, if you look at all the former players that have made their homes in our state and in the area, they identified the people that had talent. They wanted to be in that culture and the work environment that they had at that time, and hopefully that's what we can get it back to.
Bill, thanks. When we talk about development, it's not just, hey, let's a guy that is overlooked in high school, we coach him up. Yeah, that's great. But it's also taken some of the headliners of your recruiting class and keep them in your class. You don't have attrition, and develop them as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the high-end, low-end guys, middle guys, they all develop. They all take the step up. And they don't disappear after a year and a half in your program.
And it depends on who you hire, right? Again, you can take on more water the sturdier your ship is. If you're in a little sailboat, you can't take on much water. So that the analogy is that's how often you can roll the dice. It depends on what your culture can withstand. T.O. had a culture that could withstand a little water. Now, it didn't always work. Sometimes you had to get rid of it, but it wasn't going to sink.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, trust me, it's not in reverence to T.O. I'm just giving that as an example. Like, you can afford to run some guys off or take some guys on if your culture is sturdy enough.
Here is Brett. Good morning, Brett.
Morning, guys. How's it going?
What's up, B?
Hey, so I was
on my way back from Grand Island on Saturday night, kind of listened to the second half. Kind of missed some of the defensive implosions in the second half, but the fits on our defense were so bad. And, David, you were talking about our safeties are coming up from 12 yards off the ball. And, we really don't have that eraser that we had last year in JoJo Doman. But, you talk about Mickey being a no-nonsense guy, and he shoots it straight, and we've seen that through the offseason, through the first part of this season. I'm curious about how he's going to address that, being from what I know, a lifetime offensive coach, how he adapts through this season, and kind of tries to keep this thing on the tracks and hopefully win some games. It's interesting just to kind of follow how he's going to manage that defense, because you can't be 100% hands off, especially after the way that defense has performed these first three games, 642 yards or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's just it's curious how that's all going to turn out.
That's a fantastic point. I think for him, that's being able to know where you're good and know where your weaknesses are. If he feels like, and I'm not sure, we didn't get to this part last night or this morning. I think for him, it's more about getting acclimated with the regimen, because I think there's a certain way that he wants them to go about doing business. That's first and foremost. Whip's still going to do his thing. Back then, Donnie, defensively, that's going to take some guidance, because, Coach Chinander is extremely close to Coach Frost, and I don't question his loyalty to the kids, because I think Chins is a pro and a guy that I respect. But when you're going to talk about responsibilities, you may have to kind of ask around, hey, what are you seeing? What do you guys think? You bring that defensive staff in collectively, and you take input from everybody. And I think there'll be some self-realizations there. Maybe Chins can say something like, hey, you know what? I like to coach this position, or I don't want to coach a position, or maybe can we get some help here? Or, philosophically, this is what we have to do in terms of looking at how to play personnel too, right? I mean, playing quarters behind five in the box isn't going to really help you. Playing quarter half behind five in the box is, so those things have to mirror one another. It's like we talked about, we had a contingency thing on Friday night. I said, if WS gets, outside run game going, or we're getting hit with screen game, we may have to look at some 3 deep. And, the immediate question is, well, what about verticals?
Yeah.
And I said, well, scouting report says they seldom run 2 verticals to the same side. Nothing hurt. We can play thirds. It doesn't sound great on paper, but until they do something different, let's try it so we can rob or, play against the quick game. So you always have to be thinking about those conversations about, what are we willing to give up? Where are we not good? And what do we need to protect versus what are we comfortable doing? He's obviously comfortable being a too high guy, right? He's a shell guy. He likes palms. It's where you read number 2. You may have to take a look, and I don't know, but you may have to take a look at some of those philosophies given where the bulk of your talent is. Those are things that I think everybody will be open to, because it's a clean slate.
And the accountability to do your job.
I mean, so that can actually happen. Those are real conversations that can happen. You know what I mean?
But there are some guys that just need to do their job and don't do other people's job. Yeah. Especially on defense. And if you're guessing, why are you guessing?
Yeah, my question.
Guess from the sidelines, not on the field.
My guess is that Mickey will incorporate opinions and thoughts, and then make an executive decision on that.
No, and they're called the observations that are for the strength of the organization. I think I saw that on a message one time. Scott Shanley's coming up next. We'll get his thoughts from afar on what happened yesterday and moving forward, and then also thoughts on the NFL that has one game remaining. What a crazy day yesterday. Kickers, first-year coaches, lots of injuries of significance that happened yesterday. Who would have thunk that the NFC East would have one 0-1 team, and that would be the Dallas Cowboys? or the AFC South would just be just a dumpster fire. And we would have the Colts and the Texans play a 20-20 game. Oh, there was some,
that was a win or a tie, I guess, but it's a win for them.
Yeah. There were some head scratching games. There were some, oh my God, what an incredible game. Then there were some just duds, some absolute duds yesterday. And how about those New York Giants?
How about them Giants?
Brian Dable, what a different vibe in New York. So we'll get Scott Schott thoughts in a moment. Jimmy Watkins from the World Herald coming up at the top of the hour. Yeah, no media availability in Lincoln. Nebraska is practicing. They actually are walking out on the practice field right now. But tomorrow will be the first time that Mickey addresses the media, which I think is good timing because that'll be 2 practices under his belt.
Yeah.
And meetings and probably no sleep.
He's looking forward to the challenge, though. All
right, Sharp Betting in the morning at 16:20 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
Hey friends, Kent Pavelka here, back with John Higgins and the Rooferees at the Weather Guard showroom. The difference between your company and the ones that haven't been around very long, and what's the real value there?
We started the business in '85. That has to be worth something that you've been in the community for this long. If people are just out there to shop the price and not the service and the quality of what we do and the integrity of who we are, those people may not be for us. And that's okay.
The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Dust. It's in the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. It's also in your lungs. Let's fix that, shall we? Duct Defense Midwest offers a comprehensive system that cleans, disinfects, filters, and purifies the air. They'll make your home healthier and improve the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com right now for a special air duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. cleanairradio.com.
West Omaha, you're in for a treat. Cops is now open at 180th and Center. Famous for their pizza and wings, but with their new location comes an extensive new menu that includes salmon, certified Angus beef fillets, ribeyes and sirloins, several pasta dishes, salads, and an extensive variety of shareable appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Now open at Shadow Lake Town Center and 180th and Center. Click copspizza.com to see the menu. Pizza, steaks, pasta, salads, and so much more.
The Omaha Farmers Market is offering the city's largest and best selection of farm fresh, locally grown produce May 7th through October 16th. Open rain or shine in the Old Market every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and in Exarban Village every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. To keep up with what's in season, visit omahasfarmersmarket.org and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Presented by University of Nebraska Omaha, Methodist Health System, and KETV Channel 7.
Rally House, shop every team in town. College and pro, come on, it's time to go.
Get ready for kickoff, Omaha. Rally House has the game day gear you're looking for, including Chiefs sideline gear and the latest college styles.
Nebraska Cornhuskers, Creighton Blue Jays, Hawkeye, Cyclones, Chiefs, and Royals. Rally House. It's your city, it's your house, it's a Rally House.
Gear up in-store and online at rallyhouse.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Husker coverage on 1620 The Zone is presented by Tickets for Less. Tickets for Less is your local source for Nebraska football tickets. Compare and save today at ticketsforless.com. All the Nebraska football news, stories, experts, and coverage you need is on 1620 The Zone.
Your exclusive home for Royals baseball in Omaha.
Right up the middle, patient, and the Royals are a winner.
1620 The Zone.
Sharpen betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
All right, let's try and get hooked up with Scott here in just a moment. Quick email or two in the Equitable Bank inbox. This is from Nick, unable to call in, but wanted to comment on callers talking about the good old days of the 90s. Fans have to realize the 90s were one of the greatest stretches in college football history, probably the best prior to Alabama.
Are people still talking about that?
That'd be correct.
Who did I miss that? I'm just saying it's somebody.
Just references to the 90s.
Oh, okay.
But yes, the Roll Tide run that is going on for Bama. To expect that to be Nebraska's consistent level of play year in and year out is totally unrealistic, especially as a developmental program. Expectations should be a bowl game every year, competing for the West and occasionally being in the Big Ten championship game, possibly winning it. The 80s are more reflective of realistically we should hope to be.
It's not a stretch that Friday game against Iowa should be for a division championship, right? Okay.
Or as it sets up now, your last 2 weeks, where you play Wisconsin and then you play Iowa. Yeah, those games have to. They have to matter.
Every year they should be in the hunt to win the West. That's the expectation level.
And who knows who's going to be in the hunt to win the West this year, with the way that the Big Ten West played out on Saturday.
Apparently, Minnesota.
Northwestern had their one little in September. Wisconsin had their Power 5 September loss.
Yeah. Duke led that. I mean, that was kind of pillar to post.
Hey, Mike Elko, off to a good start at Duke. He's 2-0.
And Elko, they trust.
Isn't that in the? Don't they say?
Oh, is that Alco? Was that the people that got rid of waste, or was it the Coca-Cola?
Alco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was you make the call. Alco, you make the call.
Good branding, but I think aren't they done?
Yeah, that was like Monday Night Football in the 80s, wasn't it?
Remember the 80s, Damon?
When did Alco do that? Was like you make the call. Yeah,
that was a long time ago.
All right.
All right, here is Don in Aurora, Colorado.
Beautiful place.
Suburb of Denver. Hello, Don.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks
Good.
for
Good, Don.
for letting me jump on. Damon, you just sort of addressed my question. Well, I actually have two questions, if I'm allowed to. One, your reaction to this statement. My wife always says the players feel the worst in these types of situations. And it's obviously big business and it's important to the state, but your reaction to that, that's the first one. And the second one is that you talk about competing in the West, but I feel like when I hear callers I mean, I grew up in the 90s. I'm not a college athlete. I was, Class B honorable mention out of Elkhorn in the mid 90s. So not a super awesome athlete, but I can get a triple double now and then. And, but the mindset is like, well, we should be able to compete occasionally. And I think the goal should be a dynasty. When you work in business, like there's no reason we can't be a dynasty again. I know it doesn't happen overnight, but it feels like we just want to be mediocre at best with a chance to compete. And I just hear that from callers, and I hope that's not the feeling in the program. But your thoughts on those two items?
Yeah, I actually kind of like that. I think competing for division championships is always the goal. And that's my barometer because that's all I've ever known to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, T.O. would always talk about win the Big 8 and then win the Big 12 and then see where that puts you. So, with Nebraska, you have to win the West.
You have to respect the West, too. That's the first starting point.
Yeah, and which hasn't been done. That's actually a sneaky good point, right? Because I'm kind of in agreement with you.
Got good coaches and good football players.
Yeah, it's a really well-coached conference. There's no doubt about that. You need to bring your A game day in, day out, or you'll get got. It's a fantastic coaching conference.
And if you don't respect the division, what shot do you have?
Yeah. I mean, the business comment, it is. Huh? I mean, that's really the reality of it. And much like business, when you feel like you personally have skin in the game, it means more to you. They need more skin in the game.
Mm-hmm. And you compile a staff, which will happen, a staff that respects the division and is looking at, you got to win your division. You got to get out of your division first before you can ever think about the Ohio States, Michigan States, Penn States on the other side. Yeah. And you can't here's what will happen next is whoever comes in here, and they will be well vetted, thorough, strategic, is they will be somebody that during the course of their career to reach a level of consistent, sustained winning, they didn't skip steps.
You can't.
And that's what some of the things that have ailed is you tried to skip steps to get to, instead of going, how do we beat Wisconsin and Iowa? All right, how do we beat Ohio State? Well, you don't get to play Ohio State every year. You get to play Iowa and Wisconsin.
Yeah. Zero question about that.
All right. Coming up at the top of the hour, Jimmy Watkins from the World Herald. But first here is Lance. Good morning, Lance.
What's up, my man? What's going on?
What's up, buddy?
Man, it's I know it's fans and they're fanatics, so like you want them to listen. DB, it frustrates me. I know it frustrates you because people start assuming things that aren't true about yourself. And so when you and Verzal, before Frost got hired, when it was just the talkings about, hey, they're trying to get Frost, they're going to go get him and this and that, you guys were saying the same things in different ways about Frost. And Verzal was just like, hey, I'm not for this if this is what we're going to do. Now, he also said, now, if he does get the job, hey, I'm going to support the University of Nebraska and whoever's in that seat. Damon says, hey, I'm going to support the university as well, whoever's in that seat. But what he did say about Frost was, hey, there's some things that he's going to have to do that he doesn't traditionally do. Am I wrong in that?
That's correct.
Right. And so
I remember those days. Those were a fun 3 months when I was labeled as a jealous hater. And it had nothing to do with if I liked him or disliked him, because I liked him. There's just a lot of things that he was going to have to clean up or change,
Right. And Verzal said the same thing. Like, he didn't say he was going to change. You knew who he was, DB. You knew how he was. Verzal did too. Verzal was like, yeah, the way he is, I'm not riding with that guy. And I don't know if he got called a hater. He should have been called the same thing you would call DB. I don't know if he was, but I really paid attention to that because now you're at the end of this, and it was what you guys said it was. You were saying he's going to have to do this. Verzal said he is this. I don't see him changing because he in the 40 years or 40 some odd years, whatever habits you have, it's hard to change, And so this is where you're at now. Now going forward though, what you want is the backing of like the powers that be, DB. They were all in agreement with the Frost hire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Gary, the powers that be, whether it was chancellors, boosters, whatever, wasn't those people 100% behind it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty close to it. So what you want that for this next hire, but what you don't want is the type of person that Scott Frost was or is. You know what I mean? So because the other hires like Mike Riley, the Bo Pellinis, I don't think the powers that be everybody was all in, like they were all in on Frost. Am I wrong about that? And Callahan and those guys?
No. Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
the structure upstairs wasn't as good as it is now with those previous hires.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So great. So, all right. That's good news to hear. So now you just have to make sure that you get somebody that has built a winner, and not just built a winner. Let's say they didn't build a winner on the Power 5 level, right? Or the Group of 5 winner. Well, they would at least have to build a winner, whether it was Division II, FCS. If they did it on the lower levels, you wanted to be seen it done at least at a couple of different schools, not just one. You know what I mean? Or if you go Group of 5, you want to see, hey, they were at this school before and turned it around. So you have to find somebody to build the program because the program is in shambles, like I said a couple of weeks ago. And so you better be really thoroughly looking across the nation because there are coaches out there that have built programs into winners successfully, but it's not that many, so you really have to sift through. There's names being thrown out there. You know a name that if I'm gonna, let's say you want to go big, right? There's people looking at the Matt Campbells, but let's just say you want to go from another Power 5. For me, I would be looking at trying to steal somebody like Mel, up in Michigan State? What's
Tucker?
his name? Is it Mel?
Yeah, Mel Tucker.
Yeah, with the $20
Mel
million
Tucker, right?
buyout.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Well, hold on though. Hear me out now. I understand what he's making there.
Yeah.
I get it. But if you can still a guy and say, hey man, we'll start you here. Listen, we're like the Lannisters of the Game of Thrones. We always pay our debts. We'll start you. We can't start you at 10. Hey, can we start you at 6? And then we'll grow this thing to that if you do it just like he did at Colorado, just like he did at Michigan State. You know what I mean? Like, still somebody if you're gonna go to a Power 5, get somebody that's there, that's at a smaller program. Now, has Michigan State been more successful recently? Yes. But if you win at Nebraska, because Nebraska has some advantages that Michigan State doesn't. I'm sorry, I know they've been more successful, but they have more advantages than them. You don't have to compete with a Michigan. Hey, man, you can come here to build this thing over the top because he's done it. And that's the type of people, if you're going for big time. If you're going, Matt Campbell or some of these others, Mickey, listen, man, I'm for a black coach. I want to see him succeed this year. But I don't think he's what you need for the program because you have to build it. I haven't seen enough to see if Mickey can build a program into a winner, especially this big of a program. Now, if he gets the job, of course, I'm like DBA, man. I'm like that for black coaches. If you got the job, man, I'm gonna support you because there's not enough of it. So I want you to win. We need you to win because then that makes more people feel comfortable about hiring more black coaches. And so, but I don't know with his background and everything. Actually, I do know. I don't think that's the guy to build the program into a winner. And I know I bagged on Iowa, man, but it's not just Iowa. The Big Ten West, like, I see why the Big Ten went and got USC, UCLA, or USC, but you're like, they want somebody in the West to come on, man. Like the West is there for the take. So Nebraska's in the opportunity to, hey, man, go get it.
Mm-hmm.
Really dig through this thing, get you a guy so I can talk and clown you guys on a respectable level. Because I already knew he wasn't no hardball in what they were doing.
Hey,
And I just got proved right on that.
Hey,
so.
Lance, thanks for the call.
Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Sound like a Michigan guy trying to get rid of Mel Tucker because he's afraid of Mel Tucker. Now, Mel Tucker makes $9.5 million and has got a thing rolling in East Lansing. There's another part of something he brought up that we have kind of talked about. Whoever the next coach is at Nebraska, and this is an appealing job. And the person
it's a good job.
And the person that's selling this job has a state-of-the-art football facility that you're going to be the first to walk into. You've got Nebraska. You've got an incredible fan base. I mean, just listen to the crowd in a 45-42 game at the end on Saturday night. You've got a lot of built-in advantages.
They hung in there, didn't they?
You've got a lot of built-in advantages. This job is appealing. You got to have the salesperson, and that salesperson knows the program in and out and can sell it better than anybody that's ever been in that role outside of Bob Devaney because they've lived it. They've lived it. They know what the challenges are, what the positives are. But at the end of the day, when Trev gets through what he's doing to get the right guy, he's going to be able to look him in the face, and that person across from him will say, I want the job because I want to be there. It's not Trev saying, come on, man, this is a good job. Come to Papa. Please, please, please. It's going to be that person's going to go, I see what you're selling. I want to be there. 100%, it's my decision. I want to be there, and there is no doubt that I'm going, can you win at Nebraska? And they're going to go, no, you can win at Nebraska, and you've done a good job of selling me. There's a lot of appealing things about this job, a lot of appealing things about the Nebraska job. Yeah. And also, hey, we like to be paid. Nebraska has money, and they'll be the first school that will search for a football coach where they've got the down the road big time television money. I mean, you saw it yesterday, 16, 15 million, 40 million, whatever, not an issue. We're here to win football games, and we're going to do the right thing. And you know what? It also sends a message to the fan base. Hey, we get you. We understand. This isn't acceptable.
Yeah, I have first vote for a Mike Gundy, which I have not heard until 60 seconds ago. He says, if you're going to go whale hunting, interesting. Because I've never heard anybody else say that. That's a first.
He has had interest in this job in the past.
He is also a man, and he's 55.
And he's built.
He has built and sustained programs. And then if he came here, Zane Flores would come to Nebraska. Bam! It's all happening. All right. Last hour upcoming.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
See what you did there. Wouldn't that be something?
Mullets will be back, baby.
I don't even know. I just laughed at that. The Flores thing got me chuckling. That's great.
Sharp betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone.
There are actually two kinds of cigars. The first is the one you smoke with beloved family and friends. The second, the one you enjoy with friends you've just met. And you'll find both at Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge. At Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, there's a well-stocked humidor with some of the best bands from around the world and a bar with your favorite cocktails and other drinkables. So what do you say? Which cigar will you be enjoying tonight? Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's.
1620 The Zone Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have a couple of accidents to report, starting with one along westbound I-80 near 60th Street. That's going to be backed up all the way to I-480, and you can expect delays of up to 1 hour in that area. And we're also getting reports of accidents along eastbound I-80 near 72nd Street, where you can expect delays of up to 10 minutes in that area. Then there's an accident along Dodge near 144th, where you can expect delays of up to 10 minutes in that area as well. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott.
Dust. It's in the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. It's also in your lungs. Let's fix that, shall we? Duck Defense Midwest offers a comprehensive system that cleans, disinfects, filters, and purifies the air. They'll make your home healthier and improve the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com right now for a special air duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. Cleanairradio.com.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery has raised over $880 million, which has helped provide more than 117,000 college scholarships, save wildlife habitats across the state, and fund new facilities at the Nebraska State Fair. The Nebraska Lottery, helping to build a better Nebraska.
Cox Panoramic Wi-Fi includes advanced security to help protect all your connected devices. You'll get real-time alerts. Oh, like this one, so you don't have to worry about malware. Or when your kid downloads a song from a shady link. And now all your computer can play is red color, where are you? All blocked, thanks to advanced security, included with Cox Panoramic Wi-Fi. Advanced security must be enabled in the Panoramic Wi-Fi app. Restrictions apply.
A new season is underway for Creighton men's and women's soccer and women's volleyball, which means we need you in the stands. Don't miss any of the action this season as your Creighton Blue Jays compete for a Big East title. Affordable tickets for the whole family start as low as $7. Get your tickets online at gocreighton.com/tickets and cheer on the Blue Jays all season long. That's gocreighton.com/tickets.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
Let's face it, credit cards are pretty much a necessity.
New tires for the car? Here's my card.
I order takeout, use my card. And most of us just accept the high interest rates credit cards charge as a necessary evil.
What are you going to do?
Get a low fixed-rate credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream from $5,000 to $100,000 and pay off those credit card balances. Apply online, and you could get your money as soon as the day you apply. The average credit card company charges over 19% APR, but with Lightstream, you can get a fixed rate as low as 5.73% APR with autopay and excellent credit.
Now I can pay off my high-interest credit cards and save money at a much lower rate.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. Lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 5.73% APR to 19.99% APR and include a 0.5% autopay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Sharpen betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app. Here are
Well, I
Gary
do think
Sharp and Damon Benning.
There's some benefits in terms of making the decision when we made it. I think this gives us an opportunity to really, do the necessary work. We need to dive into a real process and a detail-oriented process that talks to a lot of people. And that's why I mentioned earlier, you're going to hear about a lot of names. That's good. That means we're going to talk to a lot of people because we're going to clearly define what our values are. And we're not going to hire coaches who don't believe in what we believe in, Sam. And so we need to take as long as it takes to find the right leader. So is there an ideal timeline? Sure. I mean, you could naturally look at some of these timelines, early signing date, and say it'd be really nice to be able to get the person in place by then because it would allow us to do that. But we won't make decisions or rush things just to get a coach hired. We're also not going to try to win the press conference. All right. At the end of the day, we need to hire the right leader and the right fit.
Whew. He's something else.
So
boy.
he means we're going to hit a home run higher.
He is something else. He's clear. Yeah. If you think he just got out of the rack and was like, let me say a bunch of words. No.
His TV background helps in situations like that.
Actually, it's the fact that he's extremely bright.
I've always said this. I think when problems and times are desperate, he likes those. Like he likes fixing problems. And this is the most major problem that he has had to fix. And it's the most important hire of course, his tenure, but it's going to be one of the more significant hires in the history of Nebraska football because of where the program is. This is a program that next year, when they run out of the tunnel to begin the 23 season, that'll be the sixth head coach in 25 years. Sixth head coach in 25 years.
That's one more than athletic directors, right?
At some point, that the carousel's got to stop.
I would agree.
All right. Let's somebody who was in the middle of all of it yesterday is Jimmy Watkins from the Omaha World Herald. How was your day yesterday?
They nuked my NFL Sunday, guys. How do you think it was?
I know it's almost like the NFL didn't happen around here because of that.
I know.
But let's start. What's your and you were given the task of, hey, outside players coming in and out, guys that want to talk, I'll talk to them. Can I ask you first, were there any players that have been here for a while that stopped to talk?
For the most part, no.
So it was the newer guy. Yeah, it was the newer guys.
And I don't think that's an accident. The closest we got, and I mean, this is another guy who's only been here for, a year and change now. The closest we got on that front was Chancellor Brewington saying, we got to work harder, but I don't want to talk right now. That's about it.
Jimmy, let me ask you something, because I like your style, so I'm just going to put this out there. It's media brethren. We're all in this deal. Did you feel like Trev got asked harder questions yesterday than Frost ever got asked during his tenure?
Interesting. I mean, I think by the nature of the situation, the questions were more difficult, right? Because you just fired a coach after a really embarrassing loss. So that's going to bring on some questions. But I get what you're saying. Like, I don't feel like when we were all in the press conference after the game on Saturday, I don't know that we were necessarily grilling Scott. I can't put my finger on why that is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's partially because
I tell you, I know why, because I was there. Because everybody was like, "It's over. What's the use?"
Yeah, I don't know. I see. That's why I respect you. That's not an easy question, right? No pun intended. But I knew you would give me. There's just guys you trust to ask questions to that are going to give you something. Like, I just got the sense Trev was asked tougher questions than Coach Frost was, and I thought that was kind of backwards.
Maybe there's I don't know. I'm doing this now. Like, this internal audit of the Nebraska media in real time. But maybe there's there's certain questions that you trust Trev to be able, because like you guys said,
Yeah, that's part of it, right?
The irony of him saying, I don't want to win the press conference, is that he's really freaking good at press conferences, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they're just questions that you are more confident that guy's going to be able to answer. Maybe, I mean, there's certainly something to be said about the way, like, Scott had his familiar platitudes that he would go to after loss. They just need to see something happen, or this year it's I'll spend more time over here, I'll spend more time over there. That's one of the things that struck me after Saturday, is just like, this guy doesn't have any more answers. Like, he's just standing up there stone faced after Georgia Southern, was looking like Mike Leach, Texas Tech out there, and he's saying, I'm going to spend more time with the defense. Like, what? Like, one of the stories I wrote yesterday was sort of diving into that upset loss, Notre Dame's upset loss, and Texas A&M's upset loss. You watch those press conferences, Marcus Freeman and Jimbo Fisher, they're not panicking, but the program's hair is on fire. It's we're going to evaluate everything we do. We have, Jimbo Fisher saying, like, this is all my fault. He said it like 6 times during the press conference. And Scott's like, I'm going to spend more time with defense. It's a noted difference. And you know what? Maybe the reason he wasn't saying that is because he knew that first of all, he might have known that it was over, or he might have known that if I say we need to look at everything, everyone's going to say, well, guess what we need to look at, buddy?
How much of that do you think is a microcosm of what's going on with, like, picking sides, right? Because I mean, in the same 20-minute span, Casey Thompson's reply was, I don't play, or I play offense, right? So much of the lack of being other-centered seems to permeate the program in crunch time.
I do think that there was too much, like, whether it doesn't matter how obvious it is that, the defense was the reason they lost on Saturday, or that the special, after Michigan State, that the special teams was the reason that they lost last year. It behooves coaches to be boring in those moments. And it behooves them to, trot out those cliches. And when it's a fine line to walk, right? Because you want to hold people accountable, but I get what you're saying. Like, if you while you're publicly facing the media, and by also association, you're facing the fan base, and you're just dumping on a defender, a defense, a defensive coordinator, that can trickle down. It's a lot of monkey see, monkey do with that sort of stuff. Coaches want players to parrot what they're saying. That's what, leadership, you want players to take what you're saying and repackage it in a more digestible form, right? But the same things can happen with your, if you're airing your frustrations in those settings as well.
Jimmy Watkins of the World Herald joining us. So there's the thing, and this has been throughout Scott's tenure, and he hammered this again after the game on Saturday night, is what he thinks a certain position group or a certain side of the ball is going to play well, they don't play well. And he'll say, well, I thought we were going to be okay on defense. I mean, that's something that has been a familiar refrain. So as now we're 3 games into this, and there's still 9 games more to go. So the season, it's not like they get rid of the head coach and the season ends and we'll come back for recruiting season and then spring ball. Do you believe that whether it be Scott, Mickey, other guys, that the team that is currently playing is a surprise on how they're playing, or they were just nervous that this is going to be this way, but we hope not? How do you judge the vibe of the coaches on the current connection with this team, on how good or bad they are?
Well, I just don't think that it couldn't have been within anyone's range of outcomes for Georgia Southern to light them up like that, or for that matter, for Northwestern to even light them up. Like, I'll probably never be as surprised as I was watching Georgia Southern like do whatever they wanted. Like, I made the point during the game on Twitter, like, how often did the quarterback hitch? And this is an air raid offense that is running the ball at like 8 yards per kick. Like, insane stuff, man. Insane stuff. I cannot imagine that anyone on the staff, anyone in the press box was prepared for that sort of outcome. So there's gotta, there's a shock that comes with that. I don't, but I'm not sure that it can get turned around, both because when you've reached that low of a point, how much higher can you realistically go? And just like this is a defense that I think Chenander felt. And when your confidence gets shaken to such a degree, I don't know that everyone's confidence is shaken. I haven't asked every single player on the team, but you connect dots, watch what happened. That's going to suck the life out of you. And, listen to what the guys who did talk yesterday say. Sean Mathis talking about a losing culture and how it's a different energy. And, it's kind of some of the same stuff we were hearing last year, where it's like guys wish they could win, or they hope they can win. And Damon, you would know better than I, but what players and coaches always say is that you got to know you're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's a shaken bunch right now.
Jimmy, are you kind of taken aback? You said Trev is really freaking good at these pressers. Isn't it amazing how, even for as tough of questions as he gets, and I kind of like your thought process. Well, yeah, he can handle it, so you can go there with him, kind of like we were just asking you questions. What he's so good at getting ahead of the counter argument, right? Where he puts it out there. There's not really any follow-up, because disarming is to use one of our listeners like to use. It's very disarming when he delivers information, because it's almost like he takes that ammo and he makes it a positive.
That's what it's all about, man. It's like I don't know. It's kind of like a debate, or I'm thinking of 8 Mile right now. When in the very last rap battle, I don't know if either one of you have seen this movie, but in the very last rap battle, Eminem's character takes what the other dude is going to say to him.
I know something about you.
I know something about you.
Yeah, he said
right.
you're saying the same stuff he said.
Right. So I'd like to say that Trev Albert, Marshall Mathers, that's my analogy this morning. He knows what's coming. I don't know. I mean, there are certain, he could probably guess on a lot of those things, but he like you said, he's really good at laying the case out, laying everything bare, to the point where, he answers 3 of your questions in one. And it's uncommon. You don't run into too many people that are like that. And it does tend to be people who are higher up on the totem pole, like ADs, like commissioners. But yeah, he's just really, really good at this stuff. And by the way, he's also, I view him as helpful as well, because it's not just that he's answering all these questions without you even having to ask them. I think he's being pretty authentic up there. Like,
absolutely,
I think he was pretty transparent. He basically explained the entire day. Yes, he gave us the timestamps.
Yep.
For when he took Scott into the locker room when he had the meetings, and then Mickey's in the locker room, and he left Scott alone to talk. I thank Scott in front. He gave you rundowns. He gives you details that's one of my biggest frustrations when I'm in those press conference settings is that guys speaking platitudes, and then, I have to ask all these weird, detailed questions. I get side-eyed sometimes just because I'm trying to paint a picture for people, and to do that, you have to ask some specific stuff. With Trev, you don't have to do that as often. He's really good from his perspective of trying to keep us at arm's length, but also I find him very helpful because he gives out a lot of information.
Did you go to Cranbrook?
Did I what?
Did you go to Cranbrook?
He wants you to give him a pencil so he can write something and hope that it's suspenseful. He's just
Cranbrook is a private
he knows
school.
that it's a private school.
I couldn't hear you. Yes.
What's the matter, Jimmy? Are you embarrassed? So now
Clarence parents have a real good marriage.
This guy don't want to battle. He's shook.
I'm just wondering if either one, Jimmy, you strike, especially with your musical taste. I know you have a buddy laying in the cut named Cheddar Bomb.
I hope not. Cheddar Bomb doesn't turn out too well for him, man.
We all have a dumb friend named Cheddar Bomb. All right. So now there's the dynamics of, there's going to be guys rolling into the facility today that got to go to practice, and they're like, well, what do we do? Because it's still, you're going into game number 4. The season, it's not at the tail end of the season. So you've got to balance that. You got to balance Mickey is a new voice or has a louder voice. You may have a new analyst. I imagine they'll move an analyst up to an on-field role that they'll be allowed to do because of, losing Scott. Mm-hmm. You have some issues that you have to fix from Saturday night. And then, oh, by the way, the number 6 team of the country is rolling in for what is a big deal on Saturday. So what do you think? It's Monday, and I want you to look ahead, which may not be fair, but this is what we're doing. What do you think Saturday will be like in Lincoln? Like, what does your gut tell me now that you're going to see out of Nebraska against Oklahoma?
Well, I think I'll tell you. I have no freaking idea. This is such a weird situation, but I think Trev thinks that they're going to come out inspired. I think Trev thinks that that Scott maybe had lost a line of connection with these guys, which is why you make a decision like this at the time that you make it. He said we owe it to the players to get someone in, to get a new voice in there, to get someone who can affect change. Mickey Joseph, that's a guy, if Scott Frost is your normal morning routine, you're hit snooze. Mickey Joseph is a cold bucket of water on your head, and you're getting dragged out of bed, and it is military school now. That guy can, I don't know that everyone who hasn't really been working directly under him, all the players are going to be in love with him right away. That style of coaching isn't for everybody. But I do think that his approach can be the thing that generates energy. And I think that's Trev's idea in picking him as the interim. So I don't freaking know if it's going to work, man. Like, this is a lot of the dudes are close with Scott and are going to be hurt by this. And it's really hard to get and prepare for a game. But you could, you've seen it before. Ed Orgeron, USC. Yeah. Those guys ripped off a bunch of wins because they had a charismatic coach that they believed in. So that's the process. That's what I'm seeing as the ideal outcome. That's what Trev is seeing right now. What I'm seeing is a team that needs a lot of work. The offense is really good, but the defense, I should say, that needs a lot of work. And now they just lost their head coach, and their new head coach is somebody that, they saw in practice. But as Tommy Hill said yesterday, I asked him, "What do you think of Mickey as a coach?" He's like, "I don't know. He's never been my coach before." Even as a DB who competes with the receivers and is relatively familiar with him. It's just different to have a guy that's a guy that you report to now. So it's tricky. It's really, really tricky. I have no idea what it's going to look like. Honestly, I'm kind of excited because I kind of thought I knew where everything was going before, and it was going to be just kind of, sad and repetitive. Now at least we have novelty to the season, which is something, right?
Hey, and we also get to talk to Mickey.
Exactly.
Yeah, remember we weren't going to be able to talk to Mickey all year. Now we
I
get to talk
know,
to Mickey.
which was not good. And now these little Thursday press conferences where you wait for a half hour and then you talk for 4 minutes, maybe you'll learn something at those.
Wow.
Jimmy,
Wowzer.
Jimmy,
all right then, Jimmy.
We appreciate
I don't
that.
mean to take shots there. Sometimes we spend so much time waiting, and then at the end of it, I'm like, did we really need to be here? Sometimes.
Well, in the words of the Brian Kelly post FSU press conference, well, if you were winning, Jimmy, be good.
I'll see you guys around.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Jimmy Watkins from the Omaha World Herald. Mickey will meet with the media tomorrow. That'll be the weekly availability. We'll see. I mean, as this week unfolds, there'll be a lot of moving parts.
Yeah,
a lot of emotions that'll have to be dealt with. And then, by the way, get ready to play a football game.
Right away, I would look for a change in practice schedule.
Go afternoon?
Or different days of the week. Just saying.
You mean just go 3 on, 1 off?
I mean, just take a look at how you get work done during the course of a week. It's going to change.
Going to be an interesting week. We also then there'll be the national media now all of a sudden are changing plans. We're not going to College Station for Miami, Texas A&M. We're going to Lincoln for Nebraska and Oklahoma. So there'll be more national guys are supposedly going to be at the presser tomorrow and throughout the week, of course, with Fox's pregame show being here. That will include Urban Meyer. 9:25. We'll get to some more calls and some emails as we wrap up a busy show. Flew by. Hope you've enjoyed. If you missed anything, it's up on the radio replay page at 1620thezone.com.
Previously on The Crossover.
Nick, what the hell? I'm busy on Sundays.
Jeez.
I'm busy. This is pathetic.
Nick, how busy were you?
Laundry. I had so much laundry yesterday.
Okay, you're watching TV. You don't stand there and watch the laundry, do you?
My God.
That's pathetic. That's pathetic.
Sharp and Benning in the morning. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone.
42 degrees. A lot of great locations to get it right. And it's always clean, super friendly. But the thing that I like the most is the knowledge. The training on all the products that the staff receives is incredible, which is why I consider them the source. All of 42 degrees products, they're just different absorption rates and comfort levels, the difference between their vegan and gluten-free products. But don't worry, the staff has command. That's why I call them the go-to. Sizes are super easy to throw in the bag, gym bag or the briefcase. And with 42 degrees, listen, do yourselves a favor. Stop on in. Talk to the staff at 42 degrees and get yourself a free sample. It's that easy. They'll let you know just what to do. It can work for you. That's all you really need to do. Just try it for free. Again, a lot of great locations. It's 42 degrees right by your mom's house.
Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cool to start Monday, but another fantastic afternoon on the way. Expect sunny skies throughout the day with just a light northwest breeze. Highs around 80. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Dingman's Collision Center, Omaha's top choice. For over 20 years, your safety is our #1 priority. Shingles add beauty, protection, and value to your home. You want CertainTeed shingles. Carp's Complete Home Exteriors is a certified CertainTeed shingle master. When it comes to your roof, CertainTeed shingles and Carp's have you covered. Online at carpsomaha.com.
Acura of Omaha has more than 100 quality pre-owned vehicles, with most priced thousands below market value. Get our best price in just minutes at AcuraofOmaha.com. That's AcuraofOmaha.com.
Hey, Olivia, what do you think when you think of Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe?
I think, can we go now?
Jones Bros is famous for award-winning cupcakes. Our cafe is delicious for breakfast and lunch, too.
Try French macarons.
And our light bulb boba drinks.
And our ice cream.
And our coffee and lattes.
And our croissant donuts.
We cater, too. Come see us at Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe in Exarban Village.
Come on, let's go.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Brookside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Brookside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 402-671-7777. That's 402-671-7777. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Brookside Medical Clinic now. 402-671-7777.
A beautiful smile doesn't have to be hard work. So even while you're relaxing, you can be working on a new smile with the straighter teeth you've always wanted from Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Byte Invisible Teeth Aligners are doctor-directed and cost thousands less than traditional braces, with treatments that start as low as $70 a month. Order your at-home impression kit today for $14.95 with your clear aligner purchase from Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Be confident. Be you with Byte.
The big box stores have a secret. When you walk out the door with a new purchase, that's where the service ends. At Ty's Outdoor Power and Service, you get great deals on brands like Hustler, Toro, Honda, and Steel. Plus, you get a dedicated experienced service center. With annual maintenance and repairs, your equipment will last longer and perform when you need it most. See us in Lincoln, Omaha, or Gretna and get 10% off your residential service. Visit TysOutdoorPower.com, promo code radio, or mention radio to repeat.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Make it a great fall season. Head to KuglerVision.com today to request a consultation.
Sharpen betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
All right, Nebraska and Oklahoma. If they're going to play on Saturday, Mickey Joseph against Brent Venables, Dylan Gabriel, Marvin Mims will be coming to town. Oklahoma was up 7-3 at halftime on Sooner Vision, the pay-per-view Big 12 game on Saturday night in Norman, and then they roared in the third quarter, won 33-3.
Yeah, just the way you drew it up 2 years ago, right? Venables and Joseph.
Yep. I mean, when Castiglione and T.O. were sitting down, do you think they said, you know what? I think in the matchup in 2022 on the 51st anniversary of the game of the century, wouldn't it be something if Venables and Joseph met? A K-Stater and a Nebraska guy?
Yeah.
That'd be unbelievable. All right, here is Eric. Eric, thanks for holding through our interview. Welcome to Sharp and Betting in the Morning.
Yes, good morning, fellas. I'm a fan of the show, by the way.
Thank you.
So my take is this, and please, David Benny, you got to pass it along to Coach Joseph, and you can pass it along to the defensive staff. Bump and run defense.
Yeah.
When we was great, the Ralph Browns, the Keel Cravers, we were getting up and pressing receivers at the line of scrimmage. It doesn't matter if you had the Watt twins on the edge, if we have Aaron Donald up the middle. When a quarterback could just stay hike and throw it to a receiver because the corners are playing 5 to 7 yards off, it's pitch and catch all day. When you're bumping and running, playing bump and run defense, you're getting physical from the get-go. You can't expect the defense to be physical when you're being passive before the snap. Now the corners are having to react to a receiver in space, and there's a lot of your missed tackles. When you're playing bump and run, you're going to give your D-line 2 to 3 extra seconds that they can get home, put pressure. Your blitzers will get home. Without that, I guarantee you it would vastly improve in our defense. And then Chenander has ran it. He plays like a zone coverage scheme, and they're playing, like I said, 5 to 7 yards. Then, of course, as you know, when the ball is snapped, the corners are already backpedaling more. So now with 10 yards of space, and it bothers me more than turnovers because they happen sometimes. This happens any team that wants to play against Nebraska. If you want to get first downs, just do quick picks and catches and take what they give you. And it's just, I don't know why we don't run it no more. I don't know why, but we need to. I swear you guys got to pass that along to the coaching staff. I mean, they could take it or leave it, but I guarantee you it'll vastly improve our defense.
Appreciate that, Eric.
Thanks,
They played a ton of robber. We called it 11 robber. Man free a ton, right? And I feel like Nebraska, so they can't do both. You can't be in cover 6, which is quarter, half, and be playing with 5 in the box. You can't have it both ways. So Eric's right. Something has to give. You either have to be disruptive in your timing or play with more in the box because the coverage has to be married to the front.
Mm-hmm.
And if they both are struggling, one can't set tempo and the other not. Like they both have to. So if you're going to mug and press and do those things and play like Gomes and those guys used to do, and you want muggers, you have to commit to doing that from a coverage standpoint. Now, the problem with man is guys can turn and run on you, and they can run you off. But one of the reasons why I said I had confidence that Coach Chenander schematically could adjust is I felt like he would be willing to get out of his comfort zone. And Saturday he wasn't. He's historically a 2 high shell guy. They play Palms, which is where you read the number 2. Safety is going to carry until something comes to that cornerback spot. So it doesn't lend itself all the time to great run support because you have guys fitting from off the ball in the run game from 12 to 15 yards off the ball. And in the interior run fit game, that's not going to work.
No.
So he does, he's right in the fact that, I mean, being physical is one thing. Not getting beat over the top is another. So they got to pick their poison.
So, and
you want to count slow, fast nickels or slow dimes, right? Because right now they're getting gashed with the run game and it's a slow bleed. If you change up the coverage now, maybe a little quicker, but you get it over with.
And then you add on, they're not winning 50-50 balls. I mean, kudos to Georgia Southern.
They didn't get, so I was saying in that first segment, they didn't get any 50-50 balls.
So Saturday night, of course, Coach Darlington always sits up in the press box, and he made the comment because then it became part of Saturday night became in the one-on-one man coverage is the DB would not turn around. And you know what that is. Hey, turn around. How come you can't just turn around? Remember what that was a knock on George early in the 90s is his DBs would not turn around for the football. And they would get burned over the top.
The other thing I think Nebraska's got to get back to, and it's hard to describe over the air, but you have to leverage the ball and not the block. So a lot of times, it was the play, like just for example, when Farmer lets the cutback go last week against North Dakota, he's leveraging the block and not the ball. Like he thinks he's squeezing to be the force guy, but the ball is well inside of him. He has to be tighter to the ball carrier, even though he is the ledge force. It's just too much space.
So I want to go back to something because this happened quite a bit on Saturday night. And we've been talking since the season started about alignment, assignment, and tackling.
I say alignment, assignment, technique. You say tackling. So which one is it?
But the marriage, we'll have both. Well,
okay.
the T.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to be responsible for what you were saying if it was different than what I think.
But there is the issue of lining guys up correctly. But what's happening from the play being sent in, the defensive call from the sideline, that your back end and your front end are not aligned, that they're running things that don't help each other.
Yeah.
Is that just football IQ?
Well, I think it's
or is it guessing?
I think it's getting out of your comfort zone because they've had success with it. So I think sometimes ultimately when it's like any other higher level thinker, a lot of times you figure out if you just do what I tell you, it should work because it's worked before in the past. And sometimes you have to ask yourself why. Why isn't this working? It's not working because you don't have the same caliber of personnel. So the what, which is the next part of the question, is what can I do differently? And he's going to have to get out of his comfort zone. I don't think there's any way around it. They can't play the coverages they like with the fronts that they have. It's just you need different players.
That ain't coming. There's no free agency wire.
So I mean that's the trick.
All right, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back and we'll wrap this show up. We'll sneak in some good emails. Lots of great conversation going on today after yesterday. So we'll dive into that when you return on Sharp Betting in the Morning at 1620 The Zone.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Find the next certified pre-owned vehicle at Woodhouse Ford of Omaha today. Woodhouse Ford of Omaha is now a Ford Blue Advantage dealer with over 100 certified pre-owned vehicles on the lot and are ready to test drive and take home. The Ford Blue Advantage program allows for a little bit of a peace of mind while shopping the extensive inventory in-store or online. The program is packed with additional benefits for you and your new vehicle. Each vehicle must pass a multi-point inspection before entering the program. You can receive comprehensive limited warranty coverage, money-back guarantees, and 24/7 roadside assistance. Plus, take advantage of the exclusive interest rate through the certified pre-owned program. Stop by the dealership at 3633 North 72nd Street and shop the full lot of vehicles or visit the inventory online anytime at WoodhouseFordOmaha.com. The Ford Blue Advantage at Woodhouse Ford of Omaha, that's used car buying that's built for you.
Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
If taking care of your parents' final affairs has taught you anything, it's that you don't want your kids to have to do it for you. Write this number down, 402-397-5880. That's the number to the law office of Christian R. Blanc. Chris Blanc can walk you through the creation of your own estate plans that include power of medical attorney, living will, joint living trust, and more. Your initial consultation is always free. Call the law office of Christian R. Blanc at 402-397-5880.
Hey everybody, it's Gary Sharp on behalf of my friends at Tickets for Less. As you probably heard by now, Tickets for Less is my go-to source whenever I need Husker tickets. But I want you to know that Tickets for Less has a lot more to offer. Did you know they have the largest selection of tickets to events both locally and nationwide? Plus, the thing I like the most, they never charge you outrageous per ticket service fees on your order. That's why I always use Tickets for Less. Whether I want to go to Arrowhead and see the Chiefs play, attend a concert or a show, ticketsforless.com is my first stop. See for yourself at ticketsforless.com.
Suicide can be prevented by knowing the warning signs. And most importantly, knowing what to do if you recognize those signs in yourself, a loved one, or even a stranger. There are simple ways you can be there for someone, so they can be here for more tomorrows. Visit moretomorrowsne.org to learn the signs, how to approach the conversation, and where to get help. Or call 988 for help now. That's moretomorrows.ne.org.
It happens every day, and homeowners are victims every time, unless they call us. Hi, this is Garen Armstrong with Shamrock Roofing. Recently, a local homeowner with an aging roof had 2 well-known roofing companies out. Neither found hail damage for an insurance claim, but both happily submitted bids for a new roof. Then the homeowner called Shamrock Roofing. We found significant hail damage and sat with the homeowner when he filed his claim. We were there again when the insurance adjuster came out. And when the insurance company tried to deny the claim, the homeowner appealed with his evidence from Shamrock. The insurance company then approved the full claim for a new roof. Shamrock Roofing helped the homeowner get his roof when the other roofing companies could not. That is exactly why we say call Shamrock Roofing first, especially if you're wondering about possible wind or hail damage. If you have it, we'll find it. One call does it all. Call Shamrock Roofing today, or find us online at shamrockroofer.com.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Let's face it, credit cards are pretty much a necessity.
New tires for the car? Oh, here's my card.
I order takeout, use my card. And most of us just accept the high interest rates credit cards charge as a necessary evil.
What are you going to do?
Get a low fixed rate credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream from $5,000 to $100,000 and pay off those credit card balances. Apply online and you could get your money as soon as the day you apply. The average credit card company charges over 19% APR. But with Lightstream, you can get a fixed rate as low as 5.73% APR with autopay and excellent credit.
Now I can pay off my high-interest credit cards and save money with a much lower rate.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. Lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 5.73% APR to 19.99% APR and includes 0.5% autopay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
Sharpen betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app.
We're just looking at the box score from the Iowa State-Iowa game. Iowa State ran 79 plays in that game.
I watched that. It seemed like they were throwing the ball on every down, but they really weren't. It was just because they had so many snaps.
21 play touchdown drive.
Yeah. 99-yarder.
Petrus was 12 of 26 for 92 yards. Iowa only rushed for 58 yards. And through 2 weeks, they only have 316 yards of offense. What is Alex Padilla doing in practice?
I don't know, but
is he throwing it the wrong way?
Can you give your team a vote of confidence if you stay with Petrus?
Nope.
I mean that's
because now you start worrying about a splintering in the locker room. Your defense and special teams once again gave you an opportunity.
Every chance.
Outside of the
bucked
Iowa
up
State
after a
driving all the way
couple
down
of
the field.
turnovers. I mean, they bowled.
But 316 yards of offense and back.
There were so many good college games, and we didn't even get to them.
Well, something happened yesterday.
What happened?
We didn't even get back to. We didn't even get to say is USC back.
What happened? Top 10 ranking says so, but I don't know. Defensively, they got a
defense is a concern, but the main story is more of the star-studded team. They're a little bit ahead of schedule. Caleb Williams is going to be okay. Jordan Addison is going to be fine.
How about Texas?
Is there hope with Texas? With the way they played?
Maybe.
They did lose their quarterback, who will not be out for the year. I think they gave you a preview of progress.
You want my genius take from week 1? That Notre Dame is the better 1-0 team than I thought. Do you remember that? And I said that? That was good.
Well, they got pounded in the face.
Yeah.
And now Freeman's got his first test because the honeymoon is over, but they only ran the ball for 3.5 yards per carry. They might have to make a change at quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the right guy for them.
It's amazing how quarterback play can just disable your whole operation.
Yep. And you're loyal to them and you invest in them, and then look what happens. They make or break you.
So that's why I don't miss. That's why I'm going to get on the t-shirt. Can't miss what I've never had.
Here is Jason. Jason, thanks for the call. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What's up?
So, just kind of a disclaimer before I ask this question. I know nothing at all. I have no insider information. I'm no different than 90% of the guys that call in. My question is so kind of two different dynamics that you guys have talked about, right? There's obviously some type of divide, at least on some level, between some groupings of players on the roster. And you combine that with the fact that in from what I'm somewhat reading, that there was a fairly large contingent of players that were relatively happy that Mickey took over. So I guess at the risk of bringing up a sensitive topic, is one of the divides in the locker room racially motivated, I guess, or racially related?
I'd say no.
Okay. I mean, that's what I would want to hear. I mean, that would be obviously that would be somewhat concerning. And so then my follow-up would be is that what do you feel it is related to? Is it an offense defense related situation? Is it just different, cultures of players, old player, new player? What do you feel like and is it fixable? I guess is what I would say.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a couple of things. I think the offensive staff is a little bit disjointed. And when the offensive staff is disjointed, it trickles down to the players in terms of chemistry and camaraderie. With the offense so focused on what they were doing, it was hard to promote that team chemistry that you need to have all three units or facets of your football team working together: offense, defense, special teams. So that was at the start, right? The offense was so worried about getting the offense right that the offense was only worried about the offense. The special teams was in shambles, so they spent time with themselves. The constant was the defense because that they were playing well and coming off a decent season. Then all of a sudden, the defense isn't playing well, and they have to get back to focusing on themselves, so they can't share with everybody else that's going through their trials and tribulations, which is offense and special teams. I mean, because really the offense has only played well for a quarter and a half. This thing about the offense being whatever, it still is going to be a work in progress, and I think conference play will show that. Defense, we know what it is, and special teams isn't there yet. So the thing about it is there were so many moving pieces, and you doubled down with the problems by adding so many new guys that aren't familiar with some of the frame of references and the emotional benchmarks and baggage that this team was carrying. It's the perfect recipe for a disaster when the staff that continuity and belief isn't where it should be. It's basically just you're trying to attach a picture to a wall that doesn't have a stud. It just can't handle the weight.
No, and you've got outside perspective that's coming in that has been elsewhere where you've won and been successful, and you question why aren't we doing this, or this is why we're not successful. It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
But you're right. You got to have strength at the top to be able to blend all that together. And clearly is not all in. All right, here is Joe. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good.
Got one quick question for you. We know what kind of a head coach we want. That's somebody that can rebuild and somebody that's experienced. Does somebody that comes, we know that Scott Frost coming out of that conference was an issue. I mean, we should have known that was an issue. Does somebody coming from the West Coast, or let's just say somebody that does not have Big Ten or say Big 12 experience, Midwest kind of guy, is somebody that's done all their work in the Southeast Conference, for example. Is that one strike against him or two strikes against him? Somebody that has, has it had an easier time recruiting because of a larger talent pool? Do we rule those kind of guys out?
I don't think you rule them out, but having familiarity
Yeah.
with the Big Ten would be a bonus. But if you're a good football coach that meets all the things that Trev just laid out, manage staff, manage players, sustain success, you built a program, you've moved a program forward, you're authentic, doesn't that travel wherever you go?
You'd think. I mean, if the core roots of what you do as a coach that have made you successful with that program, you feel like they're portable and that conference related, why wouldn't it?
And you're going to have a guy that's going to be doing the hiring that I think can see through if a guy is just regionalized. But familiarity, the Big Ten is a bonus.
I mean, knowing how to win too, right? I mean, I don't think you want to bring the triple option into the Big Ten, but you do have other winning formulas that have helped get you there, which is buy-in, right?
Mm-hmm.
To sell people on the triple. I just use that as an example. They're not hiring Paul Johnson, but
Troy Calhoun.
Yeah, I forgot you're on the Troy Calhoun thing.
That's my one today.
As long as you get players to believe in what you're asking them, that's 80% of it.
All right, final call today. Here is Mike. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, I just want to thank Trev Alberts for making me excited to go to the Oklahoma game again, because I drank the Kool-Aid and bought the tickets before the season and paid way too much for them. So now I'm excited about going again, see if it looks different or not. But in all seriousness, I do want to thank Trev Alberts, because he's a classy guy. He explains everything, and he's taken a lot of beating for the not waiting until October 1st deal and this and that. But he covered all his bases, and he just feels right for Nebraska. It wasn't herky jerky or nothing like that. It was a good deal, and we've got 3 months to decide who our coach is going to be, and rumors are out there like crazy. But so I won't.
Why, hey, Mike?
Yet,
why is Trev taking a beating for doing it yesterday? Just because of the money?
Well, everyone, yeah. Yep, because everybody's like, they could have saved Nebraska $8 million.
Yeah, people don't.
He's taking a beating everywhere.
Those are people that can't put kids first. It's not their money,
right? And it's not even tax money.
It's not their money. I mean,
Yeah,
if you got guys that are willing to scratch that check, and they aren't raising your ticket prices, and it's not taxpayer dollars, I mean, those people got to grow up. Like, you have to give the kids hope. You know what I mean? Like, what was he supposed to do with those guys? Just look them in the eye and say, hey, guys, I know you're not giving these guys the best chance. It's idiocy, Mike, and I appreciate the call. It is absolute idiocy if that's your argument. Because what you're saying is sit on the $7.5 million and provide no hope to the student athletes that they're going to turn this thing around for the next 3 weeks. Like, just say that to yourself out loud. It's not your goddamn money.
And you got players that are going October 1. What's going to happen? Hey,
like,
what's going to happen October 1?
And ask yourself this. If that's the cross you want to die on, ask yourself this. How costly is it to not make the move now? How costly is it to not make the move now? These people are so. I don't even know why I get worked up, because those are people that you have to stop talking to. But he told you. First and foremost, I have to give the student athletes a chance to have a modicum of success. And then from my vantage point, this was the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody walks into Trev's room, office, or, suite or something and says, hey, listen, these kids deserve better. These fans deserve better. Here's the extra $7.5 million. What are you crying for? Those are people that just rather be right than get it right.
I still feel on waking up on September 12th, both sides are better off.
What is wrong with people, man?
All right. Thanks everybody that joined us on the show today. Engaged in the conversation, whether you got in email, phone, whatever. We appreciate it. Tweets. It'll be another day tomorrow. Another day closer to the Oklahoma game.
Yeah. It's Friday.
Then there'll be a bye week. And then October 1.
It was more than just a TV show, Sharpie. One day at a time.
For Jimmy, for Damon, I'm Gary. We're back again tomorrow at 6 with Sharp and Betting.